That's great. That's great. Seems like they have.
I'll switch on my video in like 1 minute. Sorry for that.
Sure. Okay. So, before we start, on Kickstarter, is anyone in this group planning to do a Kickstarter? Has any idea? If you can just share a bit about it, we'll have some more context and maybe we can provide a little more helpful information.
Yes, Kasha.
So a few days earlier, I had no exact idea what Kickstarter is about. But when I learned about it, I am very much into it because we do some creative campaigns here at Life at Lahore. And we were thinking to, publish a few of the artisans' work and take it global. So that can be our first Kickstarter campaign to learn about and, then move towards larger campaigns.
Got it. Great. Anyone else has any other ideas? Has any other vision that my product or my idea should be on Kickstarter?
Hi Atul. So I am also planning a Kickstarter campaign in the next 6 months. So we are developing a small game which could help you in releasing stress and also kind of evaluate your cognitive abilities.
Got it. Is it a board game? Is it a digital game? What is it?
It's a board game with digital interface additionally.
Sorry, digital what? Can you please come again?
It is a board game with additional digital interface for further analytics.
Understood. Got it. It's got physical and digital both. That's nice. Great. So on this call, there is me and Bhavya to give you guys a background about us. We both have co-founded Square Off. It's an automated chessboard which you can play a game of chess on against any human opponent across the world. We both started our journey right after college, and back then we just had a prototype. We had a vision that we wanted to turn this idea of ours, the prototype that we had with us, into a consumer product company. We were exploring and trying to figure out how do we take this out. And one of our biggest challenge was the price point, because we had low volumes. The price of manufacturing was quite high. It was always a challenge for us on how do we introduce this in the market. And that's when we came across Kickstarter, and we said, okay, this sounds like a great platform, and we launched the product on Kickstarter. That was like the starting point of our journey. Again, for all those over here who've joined to know about Kickstarter, is everyone aware of Kickstarter platform?
Yeah, we recently got introduced to the Kickstarter in pretty detailed one. So yeah, now everyone has a fair share of idea like what Kickstarters do. Thank you.
That's great. Yeah. So Kickstarter, crowdfunding platform where you take your idea and you create a good video and page, and people usually get millions of dollars of funding, right? That's the dreamy vision that is there on the internet. You see someone else's product becoming successful overnight, and you think that, oh great, day one they raised $1 million. By the end of the campaign they have $4 or $5 million. So everyone feels that, okay, I will launch my idea over here, and it's going to get me millions. Well, the reality is not so easy, but we're here to share a bit about how to go about crowdfunding as a whole. To begin with, there are two platforms, right? For crowdfunding, there is Kickstarter and there is Indiegogo. These two platforms are very, very similar, but in a way they are quite different. So Kickstarter caters more to art and gaming based products or campaigns, whereas Indiegogo is for consumer products or mobility products or fancy gadgets. These kind of products do really well on Indiegogo. So for anyone in India, wanting to go about crowdfunding, the biggest challenge that they face is how do I launch? What do I need? These kind of questions come to your mind. So the first step is to have a great product. Not just an idea, but a prototype of these products which you have tested yourselves. You've shown it to your peers, your friends and family, and they've given you validation that we would be okay to invest in this, or you see that there is a market. Now, if you want to launch in, let's say, the Indian market, or if you want to launch in Asian market, Middle Eastern market, then platforms like Kickstarter or crowdfunding may not be great for you, because people over here generally aren't aware of these platforms. And even if they are, then they don't end up being the early adopters of technology, because it's a risk, right? Anyone coming to Kickstarter, there is no guarantee that your product is going to be delivered. So Kickstarter is for products which are for the Western market. Kickstarter and Indiegogo both. Right. So that being said, you are from Asia. You don't have any connect in US, and you plan to launch a Kickstarter. So the first step, once you have a great product, is you are going to face the biggest challenge is Kickstarter does not allow people who are non-residents or non-nationals of some 17 countries to launch on this platform. So Bhavya, do you want to share about our journey on how we got about solving this challenge?
Sure. So one point that I wanted to raise is in Asia also, nowadays in India especially, crowdfunding is becoming quite popular, but it is mainly around donations. Keto, you must have seen, right? Many of you must be receiving ads from Keto. So, but people over here in India, they are doing donations, but not this kind of things for getting new technology products out there in the market. So mainly to help someone. While in the US, they do it to get new innovations out there in the market. So yeah, for Kickstarters, they do not still allow Indian nationals and Indian companies to host a campaign on their platform, while Indiegogo does. So that is one of the major differences. But Kickstarter has its own, very loyal kind of followers and loyal customer base. So whoever has a history of backing projects on Kickstarter, they generally are like fans of these kind of new innovations, new products into tech or board games or art. So we chose personally to go ahead with Kickstarter because ours is a board gaming product. It's a combination of tech and board game, so we chose to go ahead with Kickstarter. So for that, we first registered a company in the US. That takes approximately seven days a week. So we did it with a company called Stripe. So Stripe is actually a payment gateway. You may all have heard about Stripe, of course. So Stripe charges approximately somewhere around $500, and they'll make sure that you have a company registered in Delaware, and then you can get your EIN number, that is the tax number. Once you have that, you can either register yourself for SSN if you are in the US, or you need some of your friends or relatives SSN to host a campaign. So first you need your registered company in the US, and then someone's SSN, so through which you will be able to host a campaign on Kickstarter, even if you are in India or an Indian citizen. So that's the very important thing to note over here. Next is that once you are eligible to host a campaign, you will focus on making a good video of your product. So video is the most important thing for the Kickstarter campaign. So let me just break down this into three parts. That is, first is pre-Kickstarter, second is during Kickstarter, and then third is post-Kickstarter. Pre-Kickstarter, basically, you will be first of all, I'm assuming you have a very good product. Once you have a very good product idea, prototype in hand, and you have tested it out with your friends and family, you create a very good video of the product. And in the product product video, you talk about of course the product features, the story, why do you need funding, what's your background, because the backers are your investors, your early investors, I would say, right? These are not direct customers. These guys are investing in you because the product is still not out there in the market. It's still in the very initial phase of product development, and that's when they are trusting you and giving the money. So they have two incentives to give you money at this stage and taking the risk. First is that you are bringing something new, innovative in the market, and second is that you are giving heavy discounts. So generally there are super early birds, multiple tires, where you are giving heavy discounts on the MSRP. So it would be enough for at least 40% discount for the super early bird, and then you will reduce it to 30% discount for the early bird, and so on and so forth, to create a FOMO. But the thing is that that's the biggest incentive that they get, that they get a new product first in hand before it hits the market, and second, that they will get a heavy discount on a new product. So with that, they take a huge risk, because Kickstarter says that even if you don't deliver the product, it's okay. I mean, it's a project. It was a donation that your backers did towards your project. So by law, it's a donation. It's not a, so they call it either a donation or a contribution. So it's not a purchase as such. It's a donation or a contribution towards the project, and rewards are not guaranteed. So that's very important to note again, because in that case, the customers are actually taking a huge risk, and hence you should consider them as investors. So now, once you have created a very good video, you take good pictures, good photos of people using it, and all the different applications and use cases, and then you create a very good page, the Kickstarter page, on which you will tell the entire story, your background again, the team who is working on it, the rewards that you will be giving, all the technicalities of the product, everything, and also the risk and attached to the entire project. Like, let's say that these are some ICs that may get delayed, and maybe whatever challenges that you may face and you are forcing, so you will be mentioning that as well. So once you have all of this ready, what you do is you create some short teaser videos and short product videos with which you start collecting emails. So this is the most important part of pre-launch thing. So because collecting emails is so important, that once you launch the campaign, you send out emailers to all those 5,000, 10,000 email lists that you have, and out of which maybe 10% or 15% people will actually end up backing you. And that is something that will give you that initial boost. You must have seen on Kickstarter that people get funded within few hours, within 24 hours. So how do they do that? This is the way they do it, that they already have customers or potential backers whom they have already convinced through maybe one-on-one face-to-face talks, or maybe through emails or marketing or something like that. But they have their emailers and they have them ready. So during the first hour itself, they ask them to back, and they back because they get the super early bird discount. Super early bird is the highest discount, right? So they get that discount, and that's the reason they back you during the first hour itself, before the super early bird unit runs out of stock. So that's the idea of getting to your maybe closer, or maybe even crossing the pledge that you have. Let's say your goal is $50,000, so you will hit $50,000 within first hour itself if you have enough emailers in hand before the launch. So yeah, and during the launch there are 4 key pillars of marketing. So the first thing is that the aim actually is to get more and more reach and traffic for your campaign page, right? Even if you launch, how will the world know that you have launched a new product on Kickstarter? So hence it's extremely important to get eyeballs, that is traffic, on your campaign. How will you do it? So 4 key pillars. First is the email list that I mentioned. That is very important. Second is your marketing, that is your ads campaign that you will run using Facebook, Instagram, Google, Bing, etc. So all of this is extremely important again to the marketing that you do, performance marketing. Third is
PR.
third is the PR. So PR is basically reaching out to media publications to write about you, to talk about you, like The Verge, TechCrunch. So there are so many tech publications out there, and maybe whatever is relevant to your product, you start reaching out to them via cold emails. You tell them that you have launched a new product. If you find it interesting, please write about us. You can also give out free samples to them so that they can review your product and they can write about it. So that's the way you do PR. And if all of these three are done nicely, then Kickstarter itself will actually send out emailers to their customer base, and that will contribute up to 30% of the entire campaign raise. So again, that becomes very important. So if you do all the three things nicely, fourth thing will happen via Kickstarter, and that will become up to 30%, which is significant. So now, I also wanted to talk about performance marketing. So many of you might not be aware of how to do performance marketing, how to do targeting ads, and etc. So there are nowadays a lot of agencies, like what we use is Jello, JELLOP. They are really good. And so what they do is, once they agree to work with you, they work on percentage commission basis. So they charge a percentage commission fee from whatever they help you raise with, but they take care of all the creatives, they take care of all the advertisement, running ads, etc. And you don't need to do anything about it then. And they really know their work well. So, and there are many such agencies out there, but Jello is something that we have worked with and we would recommend. So yeah, that's about during the campaign. And after the campaign, you need to keep all your backers updated. So you send out regular updates to all the backers. So there is this update section. You draft updates with all the progress of manufacturing, of logistics, whatever progress you're making. At least once or twice in a month, you need to send out updates to your backers. And then so there are backer surveys. So once you are very close to delivering a product, you send out surveys to the backers. It's called surveys, but actually you are collecting their final delivery address. So what happens is, generally, because you are delivering the product maybe after 6 months, 1 year, 1.5 year, whatever, the timelines are really high on Kickstarter, and hence the delivery address of your customers might change from the time they have pledged to the time you actually deliver the product. Hence, these surveys are sent out to collect the latest delivery address of your backers. And during that survey, you can actually sell accessories, which can generate additional revenue for you from the same customers, which is again great, right? So you can generate maybe 10, 20, 30% extra revenue out of the same backers by selling accessories, or maybe asking them to change the pledge for a maybe a higher level variant that you might have. So upselling, basically. So all of those kind of things can be done via the surveys, and you can send this survey when you're very, very close to your deliveries. So yeah. And one more thing that I missed is stretch goals. So generally there are stretch goals in the campaigns. What it basically means is that let's say $50,000 was your basic goal. So once you hit the goal, that means that you are definitely going to deliver the products. That means the campaign is successful. But let's say $100,000 is my stretch goal. Then I will say, okay, if I reach $100,000, I'm going to give an additional feature or something as a freebie, or I'm going to upgrade the product XYZ. It can be anything. It can a stretch goal basically means an extra benefit to your backer if you hit something more than what you expected. So there can be multiple stretch goals like $100,000, $150,000, etc. So at every stretch goal, you unlock something, which is again an incentive to all your backers. So what they will do is they will spread the word for you in their friends and community, such that you get more and more, pledges, and they get more benefits because it unlocks the stretch goals. So that's how it works, stretch goals. Atul, did I miss out on something?
No, I think so. You've covered the Kickstarter during campaign part really well. So this was a bit about the campaign in itself. I want to talk about the most important thing. A lot of times, what happens is startups, individuals, entrepreneurs, they focus a lot on campaign and kind of get carried away with the bigger picture of raising thousands and potentially even millions of dollars, that they sometimes fail to focus on the most important thing, that is the product or the thing that you're launching on Kickstarter. I'll take a step back and I'd like to share that when you're working pre-campaign phase, you really need to understand a couple of very important things that goes into making your campaign successful. That is to understand what your product is and what are your capabilities to get these manufactured in mass. What usually happens is a lot of times, campaigns, they get like overnight success, and then they realize, oh, we cannot manufacture it, or we don't have a plan in place. So before you launch something on Kickstarter, understanding your product and making it or designing it in a manufacturable stage, going through few rounds of prototyping and iterations is very, very important. Also understanding the manufacturing price point of your product, and working out your other costs, so that you have sufficient margin that you make some money for yourself, for your company, to sustain it beyond Kickstarter. You need to make sure that you have worked on the pricing of the business and for the product, and understand what is going to be the cost of logistics of your product. One very important thing is, when when you launch something, you're like, okay, I can make something for 100 rupees, let's just start selling it for, let's say, 120, 130. But when you really go out there post campaign, and the time has really come to manufacture it, you realize that you've not considered sufficient money for logistics, or there is no margin for error. That is a very important part, especially in times like these, in the post-pandemic phase, where manufacturing is very volatile. The cost of logistics and logistics as an industry is very volatile. So that is something that I suggest you all should focus on. And post Kickstarter, along with your manufacturing setup, one very important thing is design of packaging for your product. Now what usually happens is, you design your product, everything is great, you've maybe taken care of the economics also, and then you are making some money. But entrepreneurs, they come to a phase where your manufactured product is ready at the factory, and time comes that you have to ship it, and you've not really considered your packaging, right? A product goes through a lot of stress when it's shipped out. It can be any piece of art, or it can be a consumer product, or it can be technical, non-technical, it can even be a book or a board game. Making sure that you have planned in advance for your packaging, and the logistic stress for that your product will go through is very important, because otherwise what will end up happening is people will get the product and it will be damaged or it will be broken. So these are a few add-on things that I wanted to add from the product perspective.
One last thing is about VAT and taxes. What happens is, a lot of times people forget that when you have to ship your product globally to so many countries, right? Because there will be more than 70 countries where you will have to ship your product to. It's a global platform. People can back from anywhere. If you want to, of course, you can restrict that. But still, if let's say you're selling globally, then logistically, you'll also have to think about the logistical cost, because if it's going to some remote locations, the cost will be exorbitant. And the main part is about taxes and duties. So some of you might forget that there will be additional taxes and duties which might be levied during the product, when the product is delivered. So you have to pass it on to your customers. So you need to inform them in advance about the taxes and duties. Otherwise, it might come as a surprise to them, and then they'll be really angry about it because they may not be expecting any additional taxes or duties on the product. And some of the countries, they even have up to 100% tax or duty on the product. So you really need to check that beforehand, depending on your HSN code, and check with your logistics partner about it. Yeah. I think we have moti covered it all. Let's just open up the session for Q&A, and then we can talk more specifically about what you are looking at.
Hi, Atul. I have a couple of questions. First of all, just give me a second. Yes. So, first of all, like, is there any kind of a logistics? Like, I am sure, like, because now Kickstarter is so big, and I'm sure, like, shipping to these 70 countries can be very painful for these entrepreneurs, like, who are focusing on all these things. I know about the packaging and stuff. There are like, because packaging and stuff is already a very established industry anyway. So for you specifically, let's say when you did your Kickstarter, how many countries you ship your product to? How many countries?
75 countries.
75. So who like which company actually helps you?
So,
Does Jalop actually came handy?
There is a company called EasyShip. They have they're especially for crowdfunding. So EasyShip, they'll just pick it up from a factory and deliver to anywhere and everywhere. And they'll also give you the best possible rate. So yeah, I would recommend EasyShip.
Thank you. And one more thing, like, so when you mentioned about this in India, I couldn't. So why is it not allowed, like in India in general, like the crowdfunding? Do you have any thoughts about that as well?
So
is it just like the consumer safety?
It's not allowed. It's not that it's not allowed. Kickstarter as a platform, they have not extended their services in India. So I would say they have not expanded in India. Indiegogo does, so you can do Indiegogo. But so yeah, it's allowed. Of course, it's allowed. It's just that they have not extended their services.
Okay. Thank you.
Anushka?
Yeah, hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes. Hey.
Yeah, hi. So actually for me, I don't have a product, but I'm having an app which we are building. And so we might be able to give a premium access to the, premium features, access to the contributors, but we'll not have a product to ship. Is that a good enough proposition? And how does it work for apps generally?
So generally, apps on Kickstarter or services on Kickstarter is very rare. The platform asks you that you come on this platform and raise money because hardware is very difficult. Hardware requires a lot of upfront costs. So Kickstarter kind of becomes a validation platform where people go and they see, okay, do people like the product, or do they buy into the vision or no, and then they end up supporting you. Whereas for software-based products or software startups, apps, there is not much initial cost of development that's there. So and the product can be developed on the fly as it's being rolled out to the customer with customers' feedback. So Kickstarter as a platform wouldn't even be advisable. You can scale far more, and if you go to other platforms and market your product well, and interact with the end consumer rather than Kickstarter.
Got it. Because we have a lot of customers, like for my current company, which will be willing to contribute, and we have connections. But yeah, I was not sure if Kickstarter is the right thing to do for this.
Got it. Yeah, but Kickstarter is not the right platform for apps and software-based companies.
Sure. Thank you.
All right. Atul and Bhavya, thank you for the presentation. just had a very stupid burning question that what happens to people who are not able to deliver besides losing some face and some reputation? Is there more serious consequences to not being able to actually deliver on the promise they've made of shipping the product ultimately at the end of the campaign?
So generally, what we have seen is that there are campaigns, there are people who have raised like $1 million, $2 million, and then they have not delivered. And we have also seen that the backers, then they drag them to the court. And of course, then the court decides what to do. If there is so Kickstarter, basically, they put their hand up and they'll say, okay, I'm not involved over here. Now it's between you and the backers. So Kickstarter does not take any responsibility for deliveries. It's not Amazon. Kickstarter is just a platform where people are donating. So hence, and it totally depends on how aggressive your backers are. If your backers are really angry and aggressive about and they feel that you're really cheated, then they'll drag you to the court and the court will decide. Secondly, if let's say you have genuinely tried and you have regularly updated them that what you're doing with the money and how are you progressing, and then even though after all the efforts that you put in, all the time efforts, whatever you put in, and you fail, and they feel it's genuine, I mean, it's okay, then they will also understand that you really tried, but hard luck, I mean, it didn't work out. So yeah, it can go either way.
Thank you.
Any other questions, guys?
Can I ask a question on the registration, company registration?
Sure.
Yeah. So again, a very naive question. There was this, again, we had Bhavya yesterday and I just couldn't ask him at that point in time. So
Hello. Hi.
Sorry, can you please come again?
Yeah, sure. So the question is, the way we have in India, like to accept CSR funding, we have a separate, whole range of registration legal entities in terms of NGO, trust, Section 8, etc., etc. And for other matter, we have all private entities, private, for-profit organizations. So is there such a bifurcation again in US? And for Kickstarter, do we need do we have to go with that not-profit route, or or even apart from Kickstarter, is there such a bifurcation there?
Yes, there is a bifurcation in the US also, but for Kickstarter, you don't need it. For Kickstarter, in fact, Xiaomi as a company has also done crowdfunding. So, for-profit companies also do crowdfunding. Segway has done crowdfunding. Many nowadays, many big companies are doing crowdfunding. So, crowdfunding, as I said, they call it contribution and donation, but for companies, it is still a profitable business if you are making profits out of it. So, yeah, for crowdfunding, you don't require such separate registration or something.
And they also call it this, if you can tell me, what do they call it when they have to accept donation, like the way we call here Section 8 and trust and society and AOP and all those things?
I'm sorry, but I am not aware, but that's just a non-profit organization. I'm sure, I mean, Asha has one, so she can help you out.
Acha. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Abhijit is saying 501c3 in USA.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to have a non-profit that can receive money without and give tax exemptions to the donors, then that's the most common one. There's some more, I think, which are with different kinds of exemptions, but this is the most common one. Even the Jadeja Foundation, I think, is a 501c3.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks. I think Siddharth has posted a couple of questions. Do we need to ship the products from US or can be done from India or China where it is manufactured? Yeah, it can be shipped from anywhere. It doesn't matter where it is. Even we have manufactured in China. So by the way, just to give you a background again, we have raised more than $2 million on crowdfunding. We manufacture in China. We operate out of India. We sell in the United States. So yeah, anyone can manufacture anywhere in the world. So it's okay. Where can we find the HSN and tax details? You can talk with your partner. As I mentioned, EasyShip is one of them. EasyShip have a very good dashboard. It will show you everything. Their customer support or your account manager, whoever it is, they'll help you out to find an HSN. So HSN are it's a very complicated topic. You can have multiple suitable HSN codes to your product. Then you have to choose one which is relevant to your product and also which can save you taxes and duties. So they'll help you out with that. The logistics partner will help you out with that. You don't need to be an expert on with HSN. And yeah, tax details, as I said, the logistics partner will tell you in advance about all the taxes and duties which will be liable.
Generally, what happens is for crowdfunded products, they are shipped as reward. And because crowdfunding the nature is not an e-commerce transaction or an order, the products shipped are always called as rewards, uh, which ship with zero value. Uh, yeah, but it's like a gray area. So certain countries, or like I'd say 5% or so products, they get caught in customs, and then the end customer is asked to pay duty. This happens mostly in EU, but it's a small case which can be individually addressed.
I think Shashwat has some question. Shashwat, did you have
Hi
some?
guys, I'm a doctor, so I'm very new to all these things. I'm not sure if I even had heard of how crowdfunding works. So this is very good to hear. And I just Googled Square Off, and I think even I need to buy that chessboard and play it at some point. So great product, guys. This is like a dream come true, actually. That
Thank you.
that you can play with the player without someone being there. Just two quick questions. Number one is, have you heard of any crowdfunding being done for a product which is not really a product which gets shipped to a person? It's probably like a promise for the future, or into um, a product which will benefit at large the country, or or like the community. Say for example, if we can promise that we are trying to develop uh, you know a treatment which will treat cholesterol without any drugs, and we plan to do it over the next 15-20 years, and we want to like fund money into R&D for that. But it's not going to be like a product which comes into the market within a pre-specified timeline. So have you heard of like crowdfunding being used for R&D?
Uh, I personally have not, especially for Kickstarter, Indiegogo. We have always seen products which. So basically, why would people back you? Because they get rewards in exchange of it, right? So a physical something that they get in exchange of it at a discounted price. So that's the reason they do it. Though I have seen a lot of such things happening in India using keto, but again, not for a very big cause, which again, because it becomes, I think, a little vague for them, maybe, but there is nothing that stops you for doing it, especially in India. As I said,
Yeah.
you must have seen, I believe, a lot of campaigns on keto, right? People are helping some patients who don't have money, and etc.
Yeah.
etc. So I think something like that, what you are mentioning, can be done using keto. I believe keto had done a very big campaign of 15 cr or something for vaccination drive. People donated for vaccine, right? So if you are promising something like that, so that campaign, I think, was very similar to what you are mentioning right now. So yeah, I mean, why not? India can be a good place to do it, but not US.
Perfect. And the second question I had, have you guys thought of non-chess applications of this board?
Yeah, so we in fact, if you Google square of swap, you will see it's a multi-board gaming platform on which you can play multiple games. So that's one. And secondly, what we are doing is our vision is to build smart games and toys enabled with robotics and AI to give meaningful learning experiences to the future generation. So the idea is that we use technology to make the traditional toys and games more interactive and engaging, because nowadays the kids are always on the screen. So how to get them off screen and still keep them engaged. So that's the problem statement we are solving.
Got
And
it.
we use smartphones and the smartness of the smartphone and then interactivity of the physical hardware to get achieve this.
And is there haptic touch when you interact with the pieces?
No, there is not. It feels very natural wooden pieces, wooden board. You can move naturally as you do on any other board. So yeah, there is no haptic touch. While you need to slightly press down on the board when you make the movement so that the board detects.
I see. Oh,
Yeah.
this
This
is
is audio
great.
feedback and visual feedback with LEDs, which comes.
Got it. No, I think this board can be really customized for a lot of settings. I can imagine, like, in fact, this morning I I had a patient who's lost his sense of touch in his right hand, and also his movement is limited. And next month when I see him, I want to see if he has improved or remained the same or become worse. And if we have a board like this and we ask him to do some like complex movements on the board with a piece, that movement can be recorded as the baseline, and we can ask him to take the board home and do it every day, the same movement, and then we can track how the improvement is just based on the simple board. So it's just a thought if it can be used as a platform to like develop applications for recovery or applications for patients with dementia or kids with learning disabilities. So I think this platform is amazing. So best of luck, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I think Aditya has some question.
Yeah. Hello, Bhavya. Actually, so what I've understood until now from the whole session is that so Kickstarter is something where you can raise money and you can ship the product. So it's a give and take. Very simple, if I would say. But what happens to so my company is basically a tech company who has developed a technology of recycling multiple kinds of waste into products, but it's a industrial scale, if I would say so. So I have a unit basically which can transform waste and recycle them into products, and products are like basically a building material product. So it cannot be, I would say, even the end product cannot be shipped to countries. Not even, it can be regionally distributed, let's say in Ahmedabad region or some say Surat, Baroda, like that. It cannot be shipped to overseas or not even in across India. That will not be a logistically viable because cost to and all those things will not be preferable. So what do you suggest, like how my company, which is doing a social innovation good, but plus a cost effective manner, plus a innovative technology and a patented technology, if I want to do a Kickstarter campaign, what should be the strategy? Yeah, do I have to pick some kind of product to be shipped as the end product, or I can say that if somebody, let's say 10,000 people is funding me some amount, I will set up a unit in some XYZ place which will recycle this many tons of waste into products, and people can come and see like that. Will that be a promise workable? I don't
So
know. I'm just
I wanted to highlight one thing. We did cover the how aspect of how do we do a Kickstarter campaign. The important question also is why should we do a Kickstarter campaign? So I'd like to ask you first, why would you want to do a Kickstarter campaign for this?
so basically what I'm facing right now is, so I have developed a technology. I want to kind of grow this technology. Now the issue is that on this kind of scale, I cannot get the equity investor to be because they are more focused on profitability aspect of it rather than, and then the return of investment and let's say 2 years or 3 years time of period. And so that is one of the issue which I'm facing, that I cannot get money from those kind of people. So can we do a Kickstarter campaign to kind of scale up the effort? That's my basic understanding for it.
Got it. May I ask what's the product?
So basically, what we are doing is we have developed a technology. So basically, a production line, process, and machine where we are recycling single-use plastic, industrial waste, construction and demolition waste debris into polymer composite building. And that polymer composite building material basically die-cast or molded into products like paver blocks, bricks, tiles, different kinds of products, which can be used for flooring, pavement, walling applications for, let's say, construction or infrastructure or public infrastructure. So that's the overall gist of my venture. So it's an industrial setup, basically, a plant which can be producing recycling products from waste.
And why can't it be shipped because it breaks in logistics or what?
No. So basically, if I want to ship, let's say, paver block, one paver block does not make any sense for any on the. So end product is basically people will use this kind of product, let's say 100 square feet, 1,000 square feet in that quantity. And if I want to ship that much, that would be into high weight. So 1 square feet is around 2.65 kg. Let's say lowest category of the product. So if I want to
So
say 100,
basically it's too
yeah,
heavy and volumetric weight
yeah,
and all.
yeah,
It
yes,
won't vibe. I have an idea for you, right? So you can give a creative angle to this, and let's
okay,
say, so art is really popular on Kickstarter. Okay, so now
okay,
already you have a very good background story of recycling waste and creating something out of it. Now let's
yeah,
say, just a vague idea, right? We thought, let's say you have a tile. On the tile, you give some kind of artistic work on it, right? Some
okay,
very well design or something like that, and then you just give out one tile as a reward, which is well designed. Now what
okay,
happens? Not a huge cost for you to make an artistic single tile, but people will back you because of you have a very good emotional story that you are doing something good for the nature, recycling waste, etc., and you actually need money for that, for the cause. But because you're backing me, I will give you this artistic tile as
okay,
a thank you for backing me and backing the cause. So you can probably
okay.
give this new angle to it, where you are giving something. Kuch to you are giving
Yes, a
from
kind
your
of
own.
memento to people
Correct, a
who are proud of
memento.
it. Okay, okay,
Exactly. Just as a memento and giving, thank you gift. You are just giving them something for backing, but people
mhm,
will back you for this story.
okay,
So
okay.
you can
So
try this if you can find something which is catchy
yes,
enough,
yes,
artistic gift from your own
understood.
factory,
Understood.
just
So
from
the
recycling.
second question regarding this is, so that tile basically will not have the economic value similar to what they are backing us, but it's kind of a okay,
आर्ट
okay.
का नाम दे दिया यार, आर्ट का कौन सा इकोनॉमिक वैल्यू
Mm.
होता है?
Yes, yes,
You
understood.
sell it as an art piece.
Sure, sure. Yeah, that idea is very sure. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Yeah, does anyone else have a question?
Excuse me, Bhavya, what are the top categories that you mentioned other than art, which do really good? And when you said art, is it like artists raise their money for that? Like let's say I'm painting this picture, or what is generally their pitch? Artist.
Uh,
Did you get my question?
so yeah, I did. So you mean to say what kind? So people are there. I mean, there's music. There is I mean, art painting, some other artwork. There are a lot of things in art. I mean, I'm not into art, but if you just there's a category on Kickstarter which called art. So you just click them and you'll see. I mean, variety of projects over there. So it's quite broad.
My no. So my question was, other than art, what are the top categories which are
Oh, sorry.
which
Okay. Which are
in
popular
art
on
that
Kickstarter.
yes,
Got it. Got it.
yes,
Got it.
and
Okay. So,
when you see, okay, you please answer that, then I'll ask another question.
okay. So in other than art, there is technology. In technology, you will see everything. I mean, from entertainment to mobility to anything. So technology is the second. Third is board games. People create lots of new board games, and Kickstarter has like one of the biggest board gaming community. So that is the third most popular. And yeah, I think that's it.
Product design and furniture is also like
Yeah.
lifestyle products also come in over there.
And generally, like let's say specifically for art, like what is okay? Maybe I'll check the Kickstarter, but generally, if you have seen their pitch, what is generally their pitch for an artist? How does these guys actually make like raise money on Kickstarter, or it's already a finished product for which you are just saying, boss, this is what I have painted, would you be interested?
So people back you on Kickstarter because of your story, because of your journey, and because of your purpose. You can't be saying that, hey, I've made this product and now back me, so I will ship you copies of those. They don't do it. There usually has to be a cause, a purpose. Why are you doing it? Some story has to be attached. It has to be a community play and not an e-commerce or a sales play. You have to tell the community what is the bigger reason that you are doing this.
Right. Thank you. Understood.
Yeah.
Cool, guys. I think I don't think anyone else has any question, but please do feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions in future regarding Kickstarters, crowdfunding, manufacturing in China, raising rounds of funding, etc. We have done many of it. So yeah, so feel free to reach out to us. You can get our email address from Chandni.
Thank you so much, Atur and Bhavya, for taking the time out. This is really a very, very informative session. I think a lot of us learned a lot of new things out of this. And we want to call you again for some more sessions.
Happy to.
Thank you so much for hosting us. And yeah, we look forward to engaging with fellows very soon.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have Faisal Khan as our next guest. He might be joining soon. We received the confirmation very last minute, so we couldn't inform you earlier. But let's stay on the call. Let's see how it goes. Yeah. Anybody who has today we have a longer session, by the way. We have after this we'll have a session with Sanjay Kadaveru and then with Karishma Jadeja. So if anybody who wishes to take a short break can take it now, because then we might not get a chance. Yeah, we meet back at the same link when the next guest arrives.
Sure. Lukash, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
आपने भेज दिया वो पोस्ट कार्ड?
हाँ यार, वो हमने आज सारा दिन लगा के ना वो पोस्ट कार्ड्स लिखे और फिर अभी थोड़ी देर पहले जीपीओ डाल के हैं, तो जितने भी टॉप बिजनेस सबको किया है यहाँ पे था, तो
सही सही। फोटोज वगैरह कहाँ से सोर्स करी आपने? फोटोज क्या आपकी कम्युनिटी ने, जो जैसे आपका जो इंस्टाग्राम है?
So ये वाली जो फोटोज है ये सारी हमारी अपनी है. So what we do is we appreciate the new talented people by sharing their content. So it's more about giving a pat on their back. So they get few followers from our account. तो उनको जब हम पब्लिश करते हैं तो पीपल लर्न अबाउट इट कि अच्छा ये भी क्रिएटर है, ये भी नए लोग हैं. तो जो हम खुद से करते हैं वो सारा प्रीमियम कंटेंट खुद बनाते हैं. जो हमारा कंटेंट होता है वो प्रीमियम होता है.
तो ये आप लोगों ने अपने से क्लिक करी थी?
ये 4 बेसिकली हमारे फ्रेंड्स हैं, उन्होंने क्लिक करी थी. फॉर एग्जांपल एक इंटरनेशनल अवार्ड विनिंग आर्टिस्ट है जिसने ये प्लेस कॉल्ड पाकिस्तान टीआरटी पे जो रिलीज हुई है उसकी कंट्रीब्यूशन है सलमान आलम की. तो आज गुरु नानक के ऊपर जो फिल्म रिलीज हो रही है, जो कि आपके शहर से ही एक दोस्त है, उन्होंने अमनदीप साहब हैं, टोरंटो में रहते हैं, वो उनके लिए उन्होंने बनाई है. तो उसने बेसिकली शीश महल जो लाहौर के अंदर है उसकी जो छत है उसको हमने किया क्योंकि वो यूनेस्को की हेरिटेज साइट है. फिर एक हमारे दोस्त हैं, उनकी कंट्रीब्यूशन थी ये मॉडर्न लाहौर जिनकी वजह से बना सारा, सर गंगा राम साहब. तो उनकी जो समाधि है वो पिछले 10 साल से बंद थी यहाँ पर. तो उस समाधि को जो ना हमने फोकस में लिया ताकि पीपल शुड लर्न अबाउट अस कि जो मॉडर्न लाहौर है वो किन की वजह से बना. तो इसी तरह फिर जो ना वो कल्चरल डाइवर्सिटी और जो रिलीजियस डाइवर्सिटी के ऊपर जो ना हमने फिर एक तस्वीर जो है वो इस तरह करके मतलब 4 अभी रिलीज किए, लेकिन ये पूरी एक सीरीज बना रहे हैं और फिर इसको जो ना वो देखेंगे, शॉप बनाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. लेकिन ये जो अभी जो चीजें जो सीख रहे हैं यहाँ पे वो बड़ी मजेदार हैं. अब जैसे NFTs में जो ना मेरा तो यार मतलब इतना इंटरेस्ट डेवलप हो गया है कि मुझे पता ही नहीं था इसका पहले, तो मैं अब उसको रिसर्च कर रहा हूँ. फिर ये किक स्टार्टर कैंपेन का ये बिल्कुल मुझे नींद आ रहा था, लेकिन जब मुझे पता चला किक स्टार्टर का, तो एक हमारा दोस्त है बड़ा अच्छा, तो उसने की है लाहौर में, उसकी बड़ी सक्सेसफुल रही है. तो उसके साथ फिर जो ना वो मैंने किया कि यार भाई मुझे बताओ हाउ डिड यू डू इट और ये वगैरह. तो बाकी लोगों ने भी जर्नी शेयर की, तो मेरे लिए तो बहुत फ्रूटफुल है, मतलब क्योंकि मेरा तो सारा इंटरेस्ट ही जो ना आर्ट्स एंड क्रिएटिव आर्ट्स और फेस्टिविटी और इसके इर्द गिर्द है.
NFTs वाला जो yes Chami please.
Sorry to interrupt. I think this is a great conversation that's going on, but there's a slight change in the schedule. We'll have Faisal Khan's talk maybe tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. because Atul Singh couldn't make it. So we've just made this slight rescheduling, which means that we have this slot as free for now. The next session is at 10 p.m. with Sanjay Kadaveru and then with Karishma Jadeja. So those 2 sessions are on time, but we have this open slot. So if just for people who are based in India and outside, also if anybody who's missed out on dinner or any other thing can take this hour for that, and we will still be there on this call and we'll start again at 10. But meanwhile, I think we can still enjoy some internal communication as well.
हाँ बिल्कुल, ये तो बड़ी अच्छी अपॉर्चुनिटी मिली है आपस में सारे किसी के साथ संगत करने की. तो यार मैंने आज मैंने ना वो मटका बिरयानी जो सी ना वो ट्राई करी एक नई जगह से, तो उसकी मैंने एक बड़ी मजेदार तस्वीर ली है. अब मुझे चांदनी ये पता नहीं है कि हमारा जो ग्रुप है वो कितना हमें प्रोफेशनल लेके चलना है या उसमें चीजें कर सकते हैं कि नहीं कर सकते. तो एज जो ना एडमिन मॉडरेटर आप मुझे
यार बिरयानी तो अलाउड होगी, बिरयानी तो मतलब वैसे भी ब्रिज है.
I'll tell you what happens in the RC house. So basically, because we all live together for like 2 weeks or so, we all sort of plans dinners together. We sometimes even cook together. we bunk up together in certain rooms because we have like 20-30 people living at the same space. Every night we have late night discussions. People go on walks where they discuss about their projects around the block. Then we also have certain days where we go around to sort of see around SF or some part of SF. We visit a few offices in SF. So it's actually a very informal conversation, and which is why I remember even Pooja saying in one of our initial discussions that we really make bonds in that RC house. And when you said, Vikas, that the other day that it's truly serendipity when you meet in person, it does happen. We try to create that similar experience through these calls, where all of you interact together and sort of we meet up at the same space at the same time, we work together. And it's like we develop a certain kind of bond with each other where we are not knowing each other just for the sake of one program or one little meeting or one interaction here and there, but we're actually building up connections that will go together in the long run. Tomorrow, if I come across one project which I feel that one of you would be able to benefit from, or somebody will be able to connect with you, it's going to be there with me always. That's how we are growing, and that's how we look at our fellows also. So we're all friends, I would say. There does not have to be a very formal relationship between all of us. We're all friends. We're all here to build up and enable each other, and that's, I think, the way we can go ahead. I think that's the only way we should be going ahead.
चलो मैंने ग्रुप में भी व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप में भेजी है तस्वीर, और मैंने वादा किया है इफ वी गेट अलोंग और मुझे मौका मिला तो मैं सबको बिरयानी बना के खिलाऊंगा. तो आज जो मैंने तस्वीर ली थी बिरयानी की, वो मैंने शेयर किया, मटका बिरयानी की.
ये तुम्हारी खुद की, ये तुम्हारा खुद का शेयर था?
हाँ हाँ,
मतलब ये मेरा है, बाकी तुम
तीनों
अपना
मटके?
नहीं इसमें से एक पूरा मेरा था और बाकी वो मेरे कोलीग्स के थे, 2 मतलब.
Kashaf, if you're going to talk about biryani so much, you have to mail some too, because it's morning in the US and I'm super hungry. I can't wait to have good biryani.
That reminds
you come to Lahore, मैं believe me on this, मैं आपको ऐसे लजीज खाने खिलाऊंगा. मैं जो सा ना, I advocate for food, or I just live to eat food. So my hobby and passion is all about food.
I've heard so much about Lahore food that I think I have to at some point either smuggle into Pakistan or try and get a visa to come to Pakistan to eat the food.
Guys, we're still live streaming.
Oh. No, I will never smuggle into Pakistan. I'm a very law-abiding citizen. But Chandni, thank you. I forgot to tell you, we got these in US as well.
Oh, great.
Yeah, it came yesterday evening. Thank you.
Pakistan fellows, we are going to send it with Anubha to Jitex, and I think the Pakistani fellows are going to be there in Jitex. Will bring the packages to you because there are some constraints about shipping it from here. We couldn't do anything about it, but that's the only way that we found that we can reach it every place that we can.
So
Dr.
I just
Shashwat,
understand, but Chandni, can I take the opportunity? Anyone who is flying from Lahore or even in Pakistan, can I send that fellow postcards and so you get it and you people courier it to everyone, because my project is it's volunteer run, and for us international shipping is a big challenge. But anyone who is coming, I can send few postcards.
Sure.
So मेरा एक सवाल था डॉक्टर शाश्वत से कि डॉक्टर शाश्वत,
please don't call me Dr. Shashwat, just call me Shashwat. I'm normal man. I'm a normal human being.
You know what,
मुझे फिर आप ये बताइए.
Just a quick thing. I think you and Nimni are the only 2 people that I've come across. Usually when you meet doctors, every time even they send their names, they write doctor ahead, as a prefix.
Yeah.
You guys are the only 2 people that I came across that did not write this prefix. And after reading your bios, I thought, oh my God, we should be writing the prefix ahead of the names.
So I think in India there's a big thing about I'm doctor this, doctor that. Even like dentists in India, I'm doctor this, doctor that, physiotherapist. But in the US, like there's no such thing, and I think that's how it should be. There's no point of adding, like, we are not like the like royalty from UK or somewhere trying to, but
You
yeah,
have
yeah.
been you have been knighted by MJF now, so you
MJF,
suppose
yes.
you ought to be a Dr. Starship now. So
Yeah,
my
because
question was, yeah,
The art at your bag is amazing.
oh, this, yeah. So this actually, uh, like one of my friends, in Bombay, she's an artist and also a doctor. So she made like a brain, and if you look at it closely, it has different foods which you can see. So it's actually food for thought, and all the foods inside this are actually good for the brain. Like this is an avocado, this is broccoli, and then there is walnuts over here. So she just gave this to me as a gift. So I really like it.
this is super cool. Yes. So my question, which is pending so long.
Yeah,
So I
please.
was asking like अब तो वो actually ठंडा हो गया, पहले गर्म था सवाल मेरा.
No,
वो
go
सवाल ये
ahead.
था,
Yeah.
वो सवाल ये था कि अब हम जैसे बिरयानी भी खाएं और वजन ना बढ़े, उसका भी कुछ बताएं. लेकिन अब वो सवाल एक्चुअली टिपिकल अब लगेगा कि लाओ मैं प्रिस्क्रिप्शन लिख दूं, लेकिन उस समय मैं बिरयानी के सामान
No.
बिरयानी के टाइम पे पूछ रहा था.
You have to accept a shorter lifespan if you want to have biryani every day.
Oh
Which
God.
I have. I have accepted a shorter lifespan to live life. But no, that biryani looks amazing, by the way. I've been looking at it, and I also shared it with my mom, and I told her, "See, this is how you should make biryani."
Yeah, I can also share the dal chawal thing I do.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Share
that's
everything, man.
very Shahi style.
Awesome.
That's
No,
one
I.
thing
So
we do a lot at the RC house, that we used to discuss recipes, India and Pakistan recipes, and how they're also similar and how our
Yeah.
tastes are also similar. And then we used to have dinners together, and then we used to think, oh, this has more of an Indian flavor, this has more of a Pakistani flavor in it.
Right.
It's just bringing back so many memories.
I don't know if.
but Chandni, the Indian masalas, they are so amazing. Pakistan mein we don't get the that amazing quality.
Well, we haven't tried Pakistani food that much, so we can't say.
रॉक सॉल्ट तो इंडिया अभी भी वहीं का खा रहा है.
Kashaf, I got this as a gift from one of my Pakistani friends. Do you know what this is?
Man, this is what I will be selling very soon. Truck cart and everything.
So this is
So
actually outstanding. Like,
yeah,
whoever
yeah.
comes home, they'll love this. And so apparently the trucks in Pakistan, I think, that's similar to India, but over there they are much more flamboyant and decorated as compared to probably India as well. And then they make these small, I think, models for like at home as art, but that's amazing. And so if you ever are in US,
Shashwant,
please get me 2 or 3 more, Kashaf.
yeah, sure. I have a friend who is doing a workshop on truck art. So
Oh, wow.
Life at Lahore will be, hosting a workshop on it. And what we plan to do is we would be running a woman empowerment campaign here in Lahore.
Yeah.
जितने भी लाहौर के रिक्शाज जोन से हैं,
Yeah.
उनके पीछे जोन से हम ट्रक कार्ड से पेंट करेंगे वुमेन एम्पावरमेंट मैसेजेस, और वो पूरे शहर के अंदर जोन से ना वो पे रिक्शाज जब फिरेंगे तो कितनी आई बॉल्स कैच करेंगे. सो आर्ट इज वेरी पावरफुल, मैन.
Yes, Vikas, I'm just seeing your text. Absolutely. Yeah, Kashaf, I agree. Art is it's a very powerful medium. And so, yeah, hopefully we can visit Pakistan one day. So, in a very legal manner, since this is being broadcasted on YouTube, can't say anything loose.
One question to, let's say, I think we have a lot of people, I think 2-3 people are friends from Pakistan. So my question was for, let's say, with them is actually they left. So Kashf, how's the business I would say environment there? Like, is it very conducive, and is it because yeah, news may it just looks so different because they always show the weak side of it. Like, but internally, how is it? Is it internally? Do you feel like yes, around us, like these things are around the startup specifically? Because that's the only hope for every country, I think, in the Asian side of it.
So because the new government has very good, amazing plans. So this is supporting startups, and the ecosystem is now in a very healthy shape, and they understand the importance. So I believe now is the right time for anyone who is into the business, and the government is very supportive, and they are supporting the ecosystem at large. So National Incubation Center, or the Plan 9, and the expansion plans, and now every university is supposed to have a incubation center. So that's
Wow.
the new HC policy. So you won't be able to roll out degrees if your university don't have an incubation center. So that's very
See,
positive of this new government.
this is planting the seed exactly where it is needed. Like you just put the filter where, like at the entry point itself. You pressurize these universities, and these universities collect a lot of money. They can actually invest that money wisely. So that's a pretty cool move.
Yeah, and a few of the universities, they are selling their business schools, marketing as their incubation centers, that everyone who will graduate will be providing opportunities to other people. So they are very much focused. So this is the very positive sign.
Right, awesome. India,
Akash, hello.
Aditya, please go ahead.
Akash, how is the manufacturing sector there, specifically into building materials and all? Because as far as I know, Pakistan is one of the leading exporter of this brick to most of the countries. And so, how is it in terms of adopting new technologies, more sustainable technologies, as compared to red clay-fired bricks and different kinds of traditional methods? If you know about it, I'm just asking pertaining to my sector.
So a very good friend of mine, he was doing an MBA just for a hobby thing. So, and he's a big businessman from Faisalabad, and he also happens to be the ex president for Faisalabad chamber. So he tells, and Faisalabad is the main hub, and he tells that the new policies, that they are very supportive, and the youngsters, and since the new entrepreneurs are raising a lot of seed money, and a lot of investment coming in as well. So I believe the if you see current the way Expo 2020, uh, you know uh, art is what making us stand out at the pavilion. I'll share you that link, and tourism is going to be next big thing. And trust me, I'll ensure that when I'll be holding the large scale festivities, everyone will be able to come across here. And these festivities will take build positive relations to any part of the world.
Sure, got it.
इम्तियाज, आप हैं यहाँ पे?
Hi, Vikas.
Hello. Yeah, I would love to know like what you are doing, and like you were in IIT Gandhinagar.
Yes, IIT Gandhinagar.
Yeah. आप क्या कर रहे हैं? Like just help us know more, because you were into that. Yeah, please, deep learning and stuff.
Okay, so basically, like I am not into this fellow list, but like I am just attending this program. Okay, so मैंने Instagram पे पढ़ा कि first time like virtually हो रहा है. So okay, so currently we are working on the camera product. So was basically like I am talking about my vision. So what happens like when you're visiting any famous public spaces, you are you want to capture a group photo, right? So you need to ask any stranger or maybe one of your friend. So basically there is a need of photographer at every instance, okay, when you need a group photo, right? So that's why like we are trying to tackle that issue. We are my dream is to install such photography cameras at public spaces and like restaurants, so any individual they can connect and they can capture their own photo without asking anyone. So like I'm trying to do like something different with the help of photography technology. So it's an applied pattern product. So it's been like 2.5 years I'm working on this product, and I have tested my product in almost like all the maker events like Maker Fest Ahmedabad, Odisha, then Maker Fair and Maker Mela Mumbai. Okay, so currently we are working on restaurant and hotel industries.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
I think we are connected on Facebook, if I'm not wrong. So I have not met you personally, but
you're from
we are
PTU,
connected.
right?
Yes. So I usually come to IIT when it's open for some kind of like cross chapter work, like you say, some program is going on, we participate, we go there. So if this next time I'm there, I'm just pinging you. So let's meet. I want to discuss more about it because one of my friends is doing this event work, and they are also they are not into the camera work, but what they are doing is they are enhancing the photo basically with more kind of a UV LED kind of system, and I think that can be a very good fit. So they are incubated with
You
PDP.
name that startup?
Yeah.
Can you name
Hello.
that startup of your friend?
Holistic.
Holistic.
Holistic.in. Yeah. So you can search it on the internet. Holistic.in. HOLOSTICK.in. So I think so. That is one of my friend doing it. So they made a device basically to enhance the I would say the art effect or a lightning effect in a photo, where you will not have that the professional photographers or all the arrangement available with you. So you can have this device, you can have this LED have multicolors, like millions of colors in them. You can just program it accordingly and you can do it. So I think I will connect you with him. He will be able to more tell you more about the product and its concern.
So because like as I said, like I started with only this photo capturing device, but currently we are also working with AR and 3D things. So like if you are like a group of people, they are standing in front of the nice like background. It could be a McDonald's, or so we can also convert the photos into 3D, or maybe we can surround it. We can make it surrounded by AR filters, live filters, right? So yeah, and further vision, like we also want to embed these cameras with these social media apps like Instagram or this Snapchat. So if you just open this Instagram app, you can directly connect with our cameras to capture photos.
Okay, I'll just show you something. Not you, essentially everyone, because I find it like really cool app. I'll show you.
Hey, Imtiaz, I wanted to ask you, okay, if you stop there, these cameras will be where? Like when you say in a restaurant or something, right? Where will they be? Will they be like in a? Tell me more about where you're going to place the camera, and would you need to take the permission of the restaurant?
Yeah, so ma'am, as per like current business model, like I'm trying to pitch to this Ahmedabad restaurant. Like we are in talk with like more than 65 brands. So we are asking like 6,000 rupees per month rental charges. So what exactly we are doing? We are we do set up these cameras in front of the nice background of the restaurant, जहाँ पे लोग entry करते हैं ना restaurant के सामने, right? Where like a group of people used to capture a group photo with that restaurant background, so that put a photo on social media that like we visited this restaurant. So we set up a camera in front of that background, and we include this this restaurant logo and everything, and we also embed the digital logo of this restaurant to make them like organic growth.
Oh, right. Oh, I see.
And
Yeah.
when they upload the photos on Instagram or maybe Facebook, so that like they can their friends can see like where you are exploring and reaching. Yeah.
Oh, right. Interesting. So it's also an advertising platform, actually.
Yeah, so my that is the part of just like sustainable, to sustain the startup to make the and develop the cameras. But my main vision is to build up the network of cameras. If you visit any public space, famous place, heritage place, restaurant, tourism, like any public place where people are more addicted with the photos, you can just use any Instagram or Snapchat to capture your group photo. So like in future, like I can imagine like there will be no need of photographer, right? Anyone can utilize these autonomous devices to capture the photos.
Interesting. But listen, but when you place it there, the camera, I mean, how safe is a camera over there, right?
Yeah, so for example, like for let's take example of like public space heritage, right? So we will do tie with the tourism department so that their security guard will take care. So recently, like on Monday, I'm going to install one camera at half story in one of the restaurant in Ahmedabad, right? So we have done the tie up, and like we have write down the MOU, like they will take care of my camera, and we will take care of everything, like privacy policy and everything, like no one is going to cameras and everything. Yeah, so like we are trying to structure the everything. Yes.
How big is the camera?
I can show you, like we are manufacturing here only at IIT Gandhinagar. Yeah.
Yeah, let's take a look.
Yes, so it's like so it's Snapper V5. Our team from IIT Bombay, they have designed this camera.
Oh, yes, I see. Oh, that's interesting, because it's not even, it's good to see that if it looks like that, nobody's going to walk away with it. People are not going to be tempted to steal it or something, right?
It's 1 feet by 1 feet, so like nobody can steal or like can damage. So we have done like amazing engineering. So basically my background is maker, so I have put my lot of effort to develop these cameras. Yes. And yeah, as well as like I have worked hard to grant this patent, main patent, Snapper.
Oh, congratulations. That's amazing. This is actually, Imtiaz, what you're doing is something that actually Google might be interested in looking at it also. I'll tell you why. Because they see, you should have the vision of making this available in every part of the world, right? But what I'm curious though is that since I have my cell phone already, right? Why would I not use my smartphone to take a picture and upload it on Instagram? Why would I use this one?
Yeah. So we did some like some research on like this validation at Mumbai, this Maker Mela event, and Odisha Maker Fest, as well as here in India. So like there is like big difference in selfie and the portrait photo. Like when you take a photo with the selfie by your own camera, it is like very narrower angle, and in compared to with the portrait photo. Just imagine like you get the pre-installed setup at hill station, and that captures the amazing background wide aerial angle, right? So there is like completely different angle. Yeah. So so there's like how imagine that nobody can solve this technical problem. Like no one is going to install cameras at every places, because so there is only one alternative I can see: drones. But no one can afford to fly drone capture photo. Yeah. So to validate this product, like more than 3,500 people have used my product across the India, like Hyderabad, Odisha, everywhere. Yeah. So
interesting. And what does it cost you? Not selling price, okay, but building price.
It cost me like currently 25K to 28,000 rupees.
Okay, well, that's not bad.
It takes me like 4 to 5 months to break even each installation at restaurants.
How do you get paid, Imtiaz?
Ma'am, currently it is difficult due to this pandemic. Like mostly people, this restaurant they are not agree to pay, but we are in talk like with many brands. We are asking just 200 rupees per day with the fixed value. So there is like 6,000 rupees per month, and yeah, that's how it works, business model.
But this is ultimately it's a service, right? That you're providing to the. Is
Yes.
it a service that you're providing to the restaurant to
Yes.
For them to advertise?
Yes, it's a service. So like we have designed the business model in such a way that like we can update the hardware and software. Like if
Got
I'm
it.
selling this, like no one is going to update the camera, right? So ये थोड़ा like ऐसा होगा कि मेरा कैमरा के साथ थोड़ा like रायता फैल जाएगा, right? We have to update the hardware and software with the new features, right? So in this service model, we can update the technology.
Okay, I'll call you about this separately. And sorry to hog up the time. You guys continue talking. I was who's coming next, by the way?
We have Sanjay Kadaveru coming in.
Okay. What time, Chandni?
In about 20 minutes.
Okay. You guys continue talking. Sorry, I hogged up too much of the time right now. I'm just sitting and, trying to wake up properly. Continue.
Imtiaz, I have a quick question for you. Your camera. So actually, we are in process of making smart donation boxes, and most of our clients generally want it as an experience. So we have like IoT based with the AR in the camera. So how it works is it has a donation box, and then it has a camera which is installed. So we are looking for more and more ways to like make it more experiential. So in the co-working spaces and in the retail shops, and we have the AR option there. Like, is that your camera? I didn't get the whole conversation. I just joined a little late. Is the camera can be used like in smart donation boxes to like for people to click pictures before they donate something in the box?
So basically, we can install this camera devices at any places. It could be NGO, like it could be anywhere. Like people are more, addicted with the background. You can imagine any background, riverfront, anywhere. Like people are, just addicted with the place, right? So that I'm trying to remove the role of photographer. Like any individual, if any individual visits that place, he or she can capture his own photo, right?
Nice. Because this is a good alternative for us because currently we have this tablet kind of thing which is attached to the smart box. And that's not the best way because it just covers like half of your, as you said, selfie, right? Just like a face of it. But people generally want a full picture and they can like update that on Instagram and all this and with the donations.
So one of the best thing I have seen recently, like before a few months. Okay, so in Japan, the government what they have done, like government have installed such setups like stands. Okay, so where people can put their smartphone onto the stand and they can capture their photo, right? So still like it's some like part of our idea, but like, I mean like they are trying to sell that the same issue. Yeah.
Nice. Thanks. So if we have to order, is it like we can order it online or I have to reach out to you and how does it work for bulk orders?
Sorry?
If I have to order the camera, like I have to order this, how will it work? Is it online or is it like we reach out?
Like currently we are not selling the cameras, but we are providing the service like, as a rental model. So we charge like 5,000 to 6,000 rupees per month. Yeah.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
I was unaware that you are building a physical camera outside of this thing. I was first when you said VR and stuff, and you are replacing let's say all these guys. I thought you must be developing this much portable thing, but yeah. Or I was thinking like you are building some sort of an app in which like you can integrate everything. I want to show you something, but that is not now relevant. But there is a I'm forgetting the name of the founder, but there is an app called Evernote. I don't know whether you have seen it. Evernote is an app which actually is just like a note-taking app. The founder of that itself actually have created a camera app which is essentially for, let's say, all these meetings and stuff, which actually got like really, which took the whole world by a storm. And this is what the look of that like thing is. Like you can see all these background and all stuff. Like I can, while talking to you, I can actually point out to my thing, right? And it was like pretty cool. Like I means this is much more like a flashy version of it. Like I can zoom in, I can zoom out, I can come in and I can go, like all these things. But I have used it on quite a few places. It's like the presentation and the neat, the way it comes out, it's pretty well.
Yeah, and mostly like stream in the streaming, like people are using. I have seen it with Tanmay Bhatt and some of the YouTubers.
No, those were, yeah, yes. Like those are also the mixer kind of thing. Like they stream two ways. Those are other softwares. Like this is also one of them. But yeah, it's not relevant to what you were doing. I was thinking like you are doing something immersive in the day-to-day experience, but it is more of like it's definitely a good experience because once you have hashed out the technology, the experience can be just like over the, like it's called like the way in Tesla it's called like over the air update. So similarly you can actually maybe via an IoT you can upgrade the firmware or to actually provide more experiences. Yeah, I understand. No, pretty cool. Yeah, like you are doing some novel innovation. Hardware.
Okay, now that we are here, should we just have, the people who've been who've been a bit shy or less vocal, maybe talk a little bit about their project while we are waiting?
Absolutely.
Who wants to go?
Sorry, Asha, you were saying
No, Vikas, I was just saying that those of the, those of the fellows who might have been a bit shy in the past and whose work we have not heard of, while we are waiting, let's maybe have somebody talk a bit more about their work, like Imtiaz camera project. I had no idea. And Vikas, you are going to be leading next year's fellowship, by the way. You are obviously the mayor of the whole group.
No, I actually, do you know what, Asha, what I did before like jumping into the MJF? I actually talked to Raghav and I reached out to a couple of people and I messaged them. And I was trying to understand the essence of MJF. And everybody was just saying like, first of all, they were also asking, is it offline? Is it online? And I'm saying like, I think it's gonna be virtual. And then it was clear like it is gonna be virtual. So they were like, I was just trying to know. So I had discussed a couple of things, and everybody was saying like, because it's this time it's gonna be virtual. I think try to see like what other fellows are doing. Just see if you guys can actually have those discussions. And anyway, generally I am an extrovert person, but I really love to talk to people and what they are doing because technology definitely fascinates me. So yeah, I think I'm just trying because I was also not feeling very good doing all of these things virtually because yeah, but still I today had a discussion with Kashf. I think you joined in late, but I think we were just chatting about all of this startup ecosystem, not just startup as a business, like how is business conducive in Pakistan, because in media it's a different picture, but when we have like the opportunity, the good fortune to talk to the people directly, then we should definitely get to know what is the things that are happening there. So yeah, that was the whole thing.
That's all the way.
And maybe by the time we will have your EA, and with who shall be helping you with all these things, Asha.
I know. I know.
I and Nimi actually talked about it. I think before we discussed, before she discussed with you, and I was also hinting her, and we essentially zeroed on this thing. Like, you have to have one. This is gonna be helpful for everyone, that you yourself touch the lives of those people. I think this is how much impact is. Like, it has so much benefit. Yes,
For sure. I told Nimi to find me an EA. Because remember, I'm trying to retire. So you guys have to make sure that you are making it easy for me now.
I seriously, after talking to you, I generally talk about you with my family, with like couple of, like, I do give whole of this thing, not just about you. I just talk about everything and everyone of this thing. And I was just telling them how different this experience overall is. So I think you can't retire. Actually, I can tell you this.
You're right, actually. It's not easy to retire because this is also just so precious, What we are all creating here is a tribe,
Absolutely.
is a global tribe, And
all these VCs, tech stars, they all are serendipitous, or
yeah,
outcome of this all serendipity. Nothing else. Nothing else.
so true. Yeah.
Asha, is your dates confirmed? Because if you will be visiting India, and if you would have bandwidth, just let us know, at least the Indian folks. I think we can definitely fly down to your place. Like, it should be easier for us, rather than next. Yeah, we would be like super pumped to
If I
meet you in
come there,
person.
if I'm in India, I'll be in Ahmedabad. Most likely in Ahmedabad.
Okay.
Otherwise, Delhi, little bit of Delhi. But absolutely, if I'm there, I'll make sure that we have a retreat actually where all of you actually fly down. Just even if it's for a day,
Absolutely,
would be really worth it, for all of us to meet in person.
Asha,
Yeah.
for next year, should we start clearing the calendar for May?
Yeah.
If you are completely sure, then
I think you should. Yeah, you think you should.
Okay. Yeah, I think May is a good time. I also wanted to ask you, what do you think about this other conference that happens in March, South by Southwest?
It's superb.
Yeah, I would love to attend.
You should attend. Actually, those of you who can attend should attend. And if one of you wants to take ownership of it, please do, because then we can actually even maybe apply for a booth, MJFF booth, right? Abhijit, if you want to take ownership of that.
Yeah, I'm doing a bit of research this week, and I'll write to them and see what kind of response I get. If you know anybody there, I can directly write to those people also.
But South by Southwest is full of people that we know. Old fellows, new fellows, everybody will be there. I'm not sure we need a booth, but it will be good to have a booth,
Whatever we can get.
And we can show.
Speaking, having a booth, all good options. I think it's a good community.
It's fabulous. It's absolutely fabulous. I haven't been so far, but from what I've heard, it's incredible. And I do plan to be there in March. In fact, I think Lakshmi Praturi from Inc. she's organizing something where, you know, a lot of ink fellows will also be there. It'll be quite nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I'll do a little bit of research. I'll write something to you afterwards.
So
And
Abhijit,
then
when Lakshmi comes as a speaker for us,
tomorrow,
ask her, okay, about what the deal is. What are they doing there? You know.
Okay. Yeah,
We can just partner with them.
That'll be, yeah. If she already is making something, that'll be easier.
If any of you can make it for South by Southwest, I'm happy to support your trip, and you know, don't worry about expenses.
Yeah, I have a
You
visa.
should do it.
So
You should. Yeah, then you should do it. Yeah.
Cool. That's very nice. Yeah, I just thought I'll take your opinion on it.
Yeah, ma'am, I would like to share about a demo of a project that I worked in last couple of days.
Okay.
Shall I?
Yeah.
Shall I share my screen? It's it's in the embroidery work, traditional embroidery work using a NeoPixel into the traditional embroidery work. So I've made small demo to get feedback from friends and people. So I'll share my screen.
Okay.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
So okay. So this is a piece of work made by my mom. So she's a self-trained embroidery. She knows the embroidery, all the Kachi, Rabari, and other Bharat work. So what I did was, instead of using the small mirrors, I've replaced it with the NeoPixel LEDs, address programmable LEDs. So, like we can control different colors. So I wanted to do this on traditional Navratri dress, and want to control it with the Bluetooth, say wirelessly control with the mobile. And then it can also be synced within the group of friends. So the frequency at which it will blink and the sequence at which it will blink on the dresses of different people can be synced.
So, interesting. Oh, that's a very nice, very interesting idea. So it would be like a picture that will be taken and sent, or how will it work?
So this will be like if I have a koti, a traditional koti and a dhoti. So instead of using this mirrors, some of the mirrors will be replaced by this LEDs, addressable LEDs. So there will be a different programs into the controller, and I can select it with my mobile application during the Navratri, like when I'm doing a Garba on the ground, and I'm exploring other application of this. So what can be the other application?
Wait, are you saying that you can control your LEDs with your mobile? Is it?
Yes. So like if myself and my partner is wearing this costumes, then I can sync it with my partner's costume also while playing the Garba.
Okay.
And not only with my partner, say if I'm doing with we are a friend of six people doing the Garba, then we can have this NeoPixels in sync with the different patents.
What a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful idea. An app totally. Are you going to be using it this time?
No, this time Garba is only Sheri Garba is allowed. So the big Garba is not going on. But so making this is also like it takes a lot of time. So I am planning for say we 7 to 8 people will try on the next Garba. And then, well, like I was thinking of applying this Kickstarter idea on this, but I don't know how it will work here because it's like a small market here. But still, say Ahmedabad, Baroda, Surat, Rajkot, Bombay is a huge market for this.
Bombay.
And also, and also some part of US also in New York, New Jersey. You might know Atul Purohit. He is one of the Garba singer here in United Way of Baroda. He travels. So there's a community all across many places. So I don't know how to go ahead with this. I was having this idea, so I made one demo to show my friends and convince them that let's try next Navratri and let's make it big in the subsequent Navratris. And I want to explore other applications also of this handicraft work.
I would say one of the application or one of the extensions to explore is the metaverse, because that's where people are going in, in their avatar, right? It's not, we're not going physically, but we're going as an avatar. So we could be wearing, if you digitize this stuff by any chance, I don't know how that will work or how easy it is, but I expect all of us to be walking around in museums as early as next year in the metaverse, in the crypto world, in the Web 3.0 world. If you just Google metaverse, okay, take a walk in it. We could all be traveling like in a group to a museum in Italy, to a museum on Mars. Fascinating stuff. But it's called the metaverse, and there are many metaverses. The one that I like is by this guy called Meta Kovan. METAKOV as in Victor, AN. But in the meantime, Abhishek, it's okay to do this as something that you could be selling seasonally, right, for Garba season. And it's a fun idea. It's an interesting idea. Yeah.
Yes, so like I was having this long back, but was not able to work on it. So, and then there's a huge community of artisans in Kutch and Saurashtra, and they are because of this computerized embroidery work, this community is slowly getting reduced.
Yeah.
So that's also one point where they can use. So I want to design this NeoPixels. These are currently not artisan friendly. So I want to design it, change the PCB design little bit and make it artisan friendly, so they can easily stitch it on the embroidery work, what they do. And then, so that is also one point.
How strong is the demand?
I want to try it in the next Navratri because this year also I'll show this demo to. I already shown few of my friends. They are already convinced. Let's do it next Navratri. No, we need to try in Navratri.
Interesting.
I'll stop sharing my screen.
Abhishek, I have a question for you. Have you thought of using this for different use cases, like in concerts or silent auctions? Like for randomly picking someone or like doing all that with the Bluetooth, because it will be something anonymous and like whoever lights up kind of is the final bidder or something like that.
Yeah, so that's also a good application. So I just made a demo. I would not thought of, so I'm exploring it.
Got it.
Shall we begin with the next part? I see Sanjay is here. So,
hello. Hi, Abhijit.
Hi, Sanjay. How are you?
Good, good.
I don't see Chandni here. So
Okay.
she's the one who usually gives the signals for starting up and stopping.
Okay.
Oh, yes. Oh, she's here. Okay.
Are the guests here? Who is the next? Bhavya and Atul?
No, Bhavya and Atu's session is done. We had a session with them for Kickstarter. That's done. We have
Okay,
a next.
Sanjay is there, no? I think, yeah.
Hi, Asha.
Hey, Sanjay, how are you doing?
Very
Good morning.
well. It's 10 o'clock in the night here.
I know. I know.
Are you in the Bay Area or are you somewhere else?
Bay Area. I'm in the Bay Area. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Are we expecting others to join, Asha, or?
Janni?
No, I think we can start. Most of the fellows are here.
Okay, okay.
Sanjay, why don't we start with a brief introduction?
Okay.
About yourself, and then tell us about your journey from, from being an impact investor to venture capital, and what are your plans going forward and things like that. And people can also reach out to you.
Sure.
The fact
sure.
that you are based in India is such a tremendous value. I just want everybody to know that Sanjay has been a mentor for Rajeev Circle Fellows for years now. And we are delighted to have him with us for the long haul. Remember, almost all our speakers are with us for the long haul, available, accessible, and people that we can reach out to and, get mentored on a bunch of stuff. So Sanjay is one of those gems that we have in the group now. So Sanjay, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Asha. Again, hello and welcome to all the latest cohort of RC Fellows. And firstly, congratulations on making it to this year's cohort. I know there are a lot of incubators, accelerators, but very few have as much of a consequential impact on your scaling journeys as the RC Fellowship over the years, the way it's been designed and the kind of people that you get to interact with, and more importantly, in terms of the network that you have even after the fellowship is done. So yeah, Asha and team have done a wonderful job over the years in terms of designing this program, going to great lengths to curate the right set of youngsters with innovation and entrepreneurship in the DNA to come together and create this community. So yeah, the way I wanted to structure this session, yeah, share a little bit about the work that I do, my own journey with the organization that I founded in the impact domain. And as much as half the time, I think it should be open for Q&A. So whatever is on the top of your mind, I'm happy to kind of answer the questions that you pose. Again, yeah, I'm Sanjay Kadaveru. I'm the founder and president of this organization called Action for India. How many of you are familiar with this organization called TIE, T-I-E? Okay, there seem to be some raised hands. So the reason I mention about TIE is that Action for India has been inspired by TIE. TIE, if you are familiar, you would know that this is the Indus Entrepreneurs. It's built as the world's largest entrepreneurship network. It's a global network for fostering entrepreneurship and mentoring entrepreneurs. So what TIE does for general entrepreneurs globally, Action for India does for social entrepreneurs in India. So it's a similar platform for fostering social innovation, social entrepreneurship, and mentoring of social entrepreneurs. And again, most of us on this call would be familiar with startups and entrepreneurship. But the moment when somebody uses the phrase social enterprise, there's usually some kind of confusion that sets in. Most people's default assumption is that I must be talking about some kind of a not-for-profit NGO. Not always, not quite. And again, yeah, there's no right or wrong answer. There are certain problems that are best solved by a not-for-profit approach, and there are other problems that are better solved by a for-profit approach. Unfortunately, there's no universal consensus on what is the right definition for a social enterprise. Different individuals, different organizations use different definitions. And the definition that we have used at Action for India goes something like this. A social enterprise is any organization that develops products or services that proactively, by intention, not as a byproduct, makes things better for those in the underserved communities and attempts to do it at scale. So the base of the pyramid orientation and the ambition of scale are two critical elements in our definition of what is a social enterprise. And social enterprises, I know I was going through the profiles of the RC fellows in this cohort, and some of you are already positioning yourself as social enterprises. You're doing great work, focus on the underserved segments. So most of these social enterprises emerge from what we refer to as the social benefit sectors. The usual suspects: education, healthcare, agriculture, livelihood, fintech, clean tech. So our mission at Action for India has been, how do you identify the early stage technology enabled for-profit social entrepreneurs of India? And then how do you connect them with resources to help scale the impact of their work? It could be funding, mentors, technology resources, government decision makers, customers, and so on. So we began a journey nearly a decade ago, back in January 2012, as when we started a journey, and come January 2022, that will be our 10-year anniversary. So during these 10 years, we've launched a few initiatives to help us fulfill the mission of the organization. One of the initiatives in which Asha has been a keynote speaker, and some of the RC fellows of earlier cohorts have actually attended. This was the 2018 conference that we had done. So this is something that we call the AFI Annual Forum, where we assemble 100 leading social entrepreneurs of the country and then connect them with what we call as 100 influencers. Yeah, this could be an investor, a donor, an IAS officer, a tech executive, a policy analyst, essentially anyone who can play a role in scaling the impact of these 100 entrepreneurs. So we've done this conference every year since 2012. Last year, because of being the year of the pandemic, we could not organize it. But this year, before the end of the year, in December, we are doing our in a virtual format next annual forum, and I'm happy to share information about that so that some of you who are interested can try to be part of it. So at these forums, we have distinguished leaders from the business, technology, and government domains come to the forum, address the delegation, share their insights. So people of the stature of Sam Pitroda, who's a former advisor to two Indian prime ministers, people like Mr. Deshpande, who's been an advisor to the former US President Barack Obama, and one of the most successful entrepreneurs in the history of entrepreneurship. People like Rentala Chandrasekhar, who's been a past president of NASCOM. People of that stature have come and shared their insights. And again, the whole purpose or the whole theme of interactions at the forum is, so how do you get a better understanding of the challenges faced by these entrepreneurs to scale, and to look at what role in particular technology and government can play in helping them scale. So that's the broad contours of the forum. We've, as I mentioned, we've done this every year. We've done it in Delhi, in Bombay, in Bangalore a few years ago when Nandan and Rohini Nilekani hosted at the Infosys campus, and a couple of years ago in Hyderabad when the Telangana government invited us to bring the forum to the Indian School of Business. So that's been one mainstay of our programming. The second aspect of our work has been the work that we do with the Indian diaspora. So almost at about the same time that the first RC cohort began, we began our Silicon Valley chapter. So this segment has to do with the work that we do with the Indian diaspora. So we have two active chapters outside of India, one in the US and one more recently in the UK. The US chapter, is in Silicon Valley. And again, you've, I'm sure as part of your application forms for joining the RC cohort, you have to say, why is it that you want to be part of this and what does Silicon Valley mean to you and how can Silicon Valley help? So Silicon Valley, as you can imagine, is home to a huge concentration of successful Indian origin entrepreneurs, investors, executives. And several of them have an urge to connect with what's happening back home in India. So recognizing this, we launched a Silicon Valley chapter back in 2013. And along the way, we built what we call a Silicon Valley Leadership Circle. So it has a few professors at Stanford, some prominent Sand Hill Road venture capitalists, some successful general entrepreneurs. And the whole mission of the chapter and the leadership circle is how can we connect the resources of Silicon Valley with the leading social entrepreneurs of India? Again, something very akin to what you will be experiencing as being part of the RC cohort. You're a much younger cohort, I should say. That's one commonality there. And one specific initiative that we do through our Silicon Valley chapter is what we call a Silicon Valley Challenge. So every year when we organize our annual conference, we receive on the average about 300 applications from social entrepreneurs around the country in those 6 sectors. We select 100 of them and invite them to the forum. At the forum, we organize a business plan competition. And through a series of steps, we select 5 from the 100. So it's actually 5 from the 300 that year. These are truly among India's leading social entrepreneurs. And these 5, we call them the Silicon Valley Challenge Fellows. We fly them to the Valley on an all-expense paid trip and facilitate interactions with them at places like Berkeley, Stanford, Santa Clara University, take them to tech companies like Cisco, Twitter, Google. And as importantly, we organize private and public meetings with members of the Indian diaspora. So some of these entrepreneurs are able to raise money, initiate tech partnerships, identify mentors, and so forth. During the past, we've been doing the Silicon Valley treks since 2014. And during the last physical trek that we did, we had a chance to introduce our entrepreneurs to people of the stature of Ram Shriram, who's a founding board member at Google, Kanwal Rekhi, who's a co-founder of TIE, Asha Jadeja has hosted us at least a couple of times at a home in Atherton and once in Palo Alto. So again, the idea is that the Valley is considered the epicenter of technology innovation globally. People from around the world congregate to the Valley to build companies that develop products and services that address global markets. So our hypothesis is that even a brief exposure to the Valley innovation ecosystem would enable these entrepreneurs, once they come back to India, to refine their business models or build more effective organizations. So that's all about the Silicon Valley chapter. And you are actually experiencing that by being part of the RC cohort. And unfortunately, because of the pandemic, you're not there in person. That would have been a order of magnitude more powerful experience for you to meet Asha and her whole network in the Valley in person. But I'm sure that just being part of this group and being part of the alumni, you would have permanent friends in the Valley. And I would offer myself in terms of if there's anything that I could do for you guys as you progress with your respective ventures, happy to be help. So and recently, just last year we launched a similar chapter in the UK, again targeting the Indian diaspora. So people in London and Oxford and Cambridge, they engage with the leading social entrepreneurs from India. So these two have been the mainstays of our programming, the first phase of our work, the first 7 or 8 years. And then some of you might be familiar with the work that Deshpande Foundation did in Karnataka, in Northwest Karnataka. There's something called the sandbox model of social innovation. Again, basically, how do you improve the socio-economic conditions in Tier 3, Tier 4 cities of India? So we work closely with the Deshpande Foundation, and we were at the forefront of evangelizing that model of social development. And thanks to our efforts, 2 new sandboxes came up in different parts of the country. One in North India, in Varanasi, UP, where Dilip Modi of Spice Telecom launched the Exo sandbox, and one in South India, where Raju Reddy from Silicon Valley and Fani Sama of Redbus, they were the co-founders of something called the Kakatiya sandbox in Nizamabad, Telangana. The Sandbox Network was another initiative there. And for some of you who are very much in the thick of social innovation, social entrepreneurship, and social development, I'd urge you to take a look at what is happening in the sandbox, be it in Hubli, be it in Nizamabad. Just a couple of things there. One is one thing that's said about the sandbox model is that it is not people living in Delhi or Washington, DC or Silicon Valley telling people in rural India what to do, how to do. It's how can you get a deep, granular understanding of a problem, and how do you empower the locals to figure out what problems they want to solve, and how can you serve as a catalyst in the development of those solutions. That's one aspect of the sandbox. The other aspect that's typically said about the sandbox is that when you marry the execution excellence of a for-profit company with the compassion of a not-for-profit organization, that's when you can make magic happen for scaling social impact. So these are some aspects there, and I'm sure that there could be some overlap, especially if you're in the impact domain or the sandbox. So these first 7-8 years, it was all about the annual forum, our international, the Silicon Valley chapter, and the Sandbox Network. Last year, 2020, in spite of being the year of the pandemic, it turned out to be one of the most active years for Action for India, as well as the most successful years in terms of the amount of resources that we were able to attract to pursue a mission. Just to give you a quick summary of that, we launched a social entrepreneurship accelerator at IIT Hyderabad. So we had received a grant from the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, and through that grant, we worked with about 30 social enterprises in education, healthcare, agriculture, across 2 cohorts, which went on for a year. Then we were supported by foundations in Washington, DC and New York. This is for our social enterprise advisory services. So here, it's similar to an incubator and accelerator, but the idea is how can you become aware of the most pressing needs of the social entrepreneurs in India, be it in terms of connecting them with source of funding, connecting them with revenue-generating customers, filling gaps in the top management team, or helping them pivot their business models, whatever may be the need. How do you become aware of the need, and how do you help them on these specific dimensions?
Sanjay, I have a quick question. I'm actually delighted to hear that the government of India gave you guys some support. May I ask you what kind of support you guys got? Because you should be getting, you to get, over and over every year. But I'm just curious, tell me.
Sure. So this was a grant from the Department of Science and Technology. The quantum was about 1 crore. And it was a 1-year grant. And the government has been supporting a lot of incubators accelerators, and this was specifically for a plan to launch a social entrepreneurship accelerator.
Yeah.
That was.
It's interesting because once we started the Maker Fest, Sanjay, I discovered that those who, and we told everybody we want them to copy the Maker Fest and take it all over India. So it becomes more of a social movement. Maker Mela took it to Bombay and they got 5 crores from the government. So did you know that? I know it's actually real. I think this is another huge opportunity that we should not, take lightly, that the government is sitting on a lot of taxpayer money, and it can be actually released if we can show some successful pilots. So the Maker Fest kind of a thing has, Make in India, in fact, was started after we did Maker Fest. And I spoke to the guys who did, did the marketing campaign for them. I spoke to them. They told me that they were told specifically that, it's kind of based on this whole maker activity that we did in Ahmedabad. But remember, but it was a pilot, right? Ours was a pilot. There's no way we can scale across the country. But the government does come in if you can show something successful. If you can show a good pilot. So it's really critical that you share with us the fact that your successful pilot attracted that 1 crore and perhaps much more going forward, and these funds are yours for the taking, they are your taxpayer money. So it's great. That's good, really good news. That's fantastic news, actually.
Thank you. So we got this grants in the US, and we also launched one thing that I realized in my decade-long journey. AFI was started to help the social entrepreneurs scale the impact of the work. And if you're really serious about this particular objective, then probably the single most consequential thing that we could do for these entrepreneurs is to give them access to funding, at least to the deserving subset of them, the right quantum of funding, the right type of funding at the time when they need it the most. if we somehow deliver on this critical dimension, it's much more likely that the entrepreneurs will be a more receptive audience to any other interventions that we design for them. So with that insight, we launched a Angel Impact Investment Network in Silicon Valley with a couple of co-founders who are serial tech entrepreneurs in the Valley. Through that Angel Network, we are able to write 1 crore to 2 crore ticket size checks for early stage tech-enabled social entrepreneurs in India. And the last thing I'm going to mention about our work is the work that we've been doing with women entrepreneurs. So last year, the eBay Foundation in the US, and actually in the Bay Area, it was trying to promote entrepreneurship among minority populations globally. So it selected a few organizations from around the world and invited them to submit proposals aligned with a broad theme, entrepreneurship among minority populations. So we were one of the selected organizations, and we chose to focus on working with women social entrepreneurs in India. So we submitted the proposal was approved, we received a grant. We currently have a cohort of 6 women social entrepreneurs whom we are working closely with and helping them on the scaling journey. And again, so after that, we received a grant from eBay India through their CSR division. And just a few weeks ago, eBay Foundation US is again chosen to continue the support for the Women in Social Entrepreneurship Initiative. So it's been a great partnership. And we are really putting a lot of energy and attention behind this initiative. It's some of these statistics are really stark. Even in Silicon Valley, apparently less than 1% of the entire venture capital that goes to startups is given to women-led startups. I'm sure in India it must be as bad or worse. And that's really a pity to have such a low statistic. So what we are focused on is in terms of how can we better understand the challenges that hold women entrepreneurs back, and how can we design customized interventions for helping them with their scaling journeys. And some of the things that have been suggested are, hey, women are as good as men. All they need is, for whatever reason, they don't get in front of investors. So if you can somehow just give them enough opportunities to be able to present about their work to investors. That's one thing that's been said. Somebody said, hey, women need more assertiveness training so that they can be more forthright or more assertive in their dealings with investors, with potential partners, potential employees, and so forth. The reason why this is of importance to AFI is that eBay Foundation has a global reach. And if you're able to produce some robust results on this whole Women Entrepreneurship Initiative in India, we feel that through the reach of the eBay Foundation, we can take some of these ideas and insights from the cohorts in India and spread them to other parts of the world, be it Africa, Latin America, or other parts of Asia. So that gives you a quick sense in terms of what our journey has been like for the last 10 years. And 10th anniversary is a significant milestone for any organization. So this is a time to reflect in terms of, hey, what have we done? What has been on the ground impact? But as importantly, time to look ahead and figure out in terms of what are we envisioning for the next decade? What are the kind of things that we want to do differently to be able to contribute more effectively? Two specific things that are on our horizon. One is starting a impact investment technology platform. Some of you might be familiar with an organization called Let's Venture in Bangalore. So Let's Venture is basically a tech platform which connects commercial startups with commercial investors, be it angels, angel networks, or institutions. So we are in early stages of discussion with them to see if a similar platform can be set up for focused on impact entrepreneurs. And so that's in the early stage of discussion. And if it were to materialize, I think that'll be a huge benefit to the impact ecosystem in India. And once we establish or demonstrate value addition to the Indian ecosystem, it can spread to other parts of the world as well. And then we've been in early stages of discussion with respect to launching an impact investment fund, which will give us an opportunity to play a more direct role in channeling some of the funds to deserving social entrepreneurs in India. So I'll stop there. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you have, either about your venture, about AFI, or anything else broadly in the impact space. Thank you.
Sanjay, why don't you talk about my magic touch of serendipity? Tell.
Sure.
Just tell everybody
So,
how
yeah,
by sheer accident you became a venture capitalist. Sabko bata so that people take me seriously, you know.
So Asha has been such a great friend for entrepreneurs, and she does so many things in terms of recognizing folks like you as part of the RC cohort, and she gives opportunities for entrepreneurs to showcase their work at places like the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas. There is I think the Indiaspora forums.
And Sanjay, talk about your accidental serendipity of piggybacking on something that I put on Facebook, and how that led to your journey into venture capital. Wo to bata.
Yeah. So in a similar vein, what happened was that Asha selected a few individuals of promise to Davos last year. Davos, as you might know, has been the mecca for networking, the who's who on the planet. And it was that opportunity that put me in touch with one of the venture capital firms from India. This is something called IV Cap Ventures, which started about 10 years ago. They were doing commercial investments. Now they want to do SDG investments, Sustainable Development Goal investments. And then seeing my track record at Action for India, I was invited to join the team. Is this what you were referring to, Asha? Is this something
actually,
else?
No, Sanjay, here's what I was going to do actually, but then you can pitch in, okay? I just wanted to tell everybody that this is the model you guys have to follow for paying it forward, right? What I realized at some point is that in the World Economic Forum in Davos, most Indians could not visit.
Yep.
Why? Because the government said that we decide who goes and who does not go. So they would always pick their favorites, and Aam Janta cannot get there. And one fine day, I said, I'm going to break that bubble, because that was absolute nonsense. So what I did, guys, is I rented one big hotel in Davos at the time of the World Economic Forum, created the Motwani Jadeja, what was it called? I think it was called Motwani Jadeja. What did we call it, Sanjay?
I mean, it was a foundation.
But that's what we called it the Motwani Jadeja Hub, where everybody was staying. So Anand Mahindra, Nandan Nilekani, Jamie Dimon, the head of JP Morgan, I mean, you name it, where all these guys were staying, we created the Motwani Jadeja Hub. Then I called up people like Sanjay and, about 20, 30 other people in India. And I said, guys, show up. Just show up, okay? You will have a bed to stay, and you have the Motwani Hub to hang out, and just show up. It was interesting how many people landed up in Davos without any permission from any stupid government, nothing. Okay, people showed up, and at the Motwani Hub, we were meeting with who's who from, Sundar Pichai walking in to the JP Morgan CEO, Jamie Dimon, because we were right in the hotel where they were all staying. So it was literally a coup against the Indian government. And I actually told the Startup India guys and Invest India guys, I said, you should stop being the bottleneck. Let people just fly in by themselves and manage their show, which I think that was a disruption that I think of it as a literal coup that we had. And everybody, of course, Sanjay was part of that coup. And what was fantastic is that everybody got to meet exactly the kind of people they wanted to meet, either at the Motwani Hub or elsewhere also. There were at least 30, 40 other events going on in parallel where you could walk in. But what I'm saying is that this goes to show that don't sit there thinking the government, that you to take the permission of the government or anybody to show up. show up at important events where you think it will be valuable to you. And if funding is an issue, ask people like me or Sanjay or dozen other people now, and ask them to help you with your travel costs. But show up. It's really critical that you show up, because as we become global, as India globalizes, without these visits today, if Sanjay, if you had never come to the Bay Area or had never showed up in in Davos, I think your view of the world would be completely different. Right? So,
I agree with you totally.
So this is the issue. This is what needs to be done. I think the kind of effort that Sanjay put in the Action for India days, I remember he was visiting Silicon Valley every month. I used to see Sanjay almost every month. He would be there. He would be sitting in front of people. He would be having his lunches, talking to people, building those relationships. And today he is at one of the hottest venture capital funds in India. But these things don't happen unless we push ourselves to show up at these things, be there, talk to people, and sometimes even get out of our comfort zone. So just want you to know that that's something where people like Sanjay showed up, and it just, and the rest is history. So yeah.
And again, all of you have been given that initial step of support from Asha, and you make the most of it in terms of networking with the core members, but more importantly in terms of, again, it's unfortunate that you couldn't be there in the Valley in person. But the 3 weeks there, it would have been a blast, and I'm sure that once this pandemic thing kind of dies down, Asha will hopefully arrange something in person. But as an alumnus of this thing, you would have always access to support from Asha and the team there in terms of whoever are the relevant people in the Valley.
We are actually, Sanjay, we are meeting at some of the people are coming to the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, and then some will come. Somebody suggested today that they are going to bring some part of the cohort to the South by Southwest in Texas.
Awesome.
And then of course, most will come for TiCon in the Bay Area, So, but please go ahead and ask the question to Sanjay. I'm going to stop hogging up your time.
Anushka, did you want to begin?
Yeah, sure. Hi, Sanjay. I think we have met earlier in ISB I was part of the accelerator program. So I was just trying to recollect where did we meet, and then I recollected when you mentioned ISB. So great. So actually, for me, from ISB to here, we were pre-revenue that time, and now we are in 11 cities across India. We are going pan-India in 2 weeks. What issue which I face with funding, I have not actively raised funding because I'm the sole founder. And for me, expansion generally takes a forfeit as compared to reaching out to investors, because that's a full-time job as well. And I have reached out to a few investors. A few investors have reached out to me. And what I've seen is generally either the size is like, if Yusuf Foundation, all these are very small, or if it's bigger, like United Seed Fund, etc., they have very specific verticals. Like Artha Foundation was really interested, but they had very specific verticals in which they can invest, which is by LPs, right? Like livelihood, education, healthcare. We don't typically fall into one. We have it's a donation pickup service, and we support close to 120 NGOs across India. And we do a lot of, so it's more of a customer facing service, which makes it easy for people to donate the pre-loved goods and goes to the NGOs we support. So it's more of NGOs come from different causes and which they are focusing on. It's not falling into single vertical. So we generally quantify our impact in terms of carbon emissions reduced because of the extension of life of these goods, or in terms of beneficiary search, etc. But it's not specific to one vertical. So in that case, what kind of impact investors you recommend? Because most of the times I got a suggestion that it's for-profit company, why not go to K-Start and all that? But I'm always juggling between, can I have something which is sustainability plus, the whole typical VC fund, how it looks like.
What is the quantum of funding that you're trying to raise?
So we are trying to raise 1.2 million currently. We have reached out to a few, and we were okay to have it in parts, but 1.2 is what we are looking for.
And what is the amount of money or grants even that you kind of raised thus far up till now?
So it's all from our clients. We have paying clients, and we are running on profits currently. We have not raised any money. We have got a couple of prizes here and there, like a couple of lakhs, but not much. Yeah. And I put my savings in this in the starting. So, but now we have crossed break even and everything.
So let's do one thing. You can get my email address from Chandani and share with me your investment pitch deck.
Sure.
And do you have one ready?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So through either my contacts in the angels or the angel networks or even some specific impact funds, I'm happy to kind of review your deck and make some suggestions.
That'll be great. Thanks. Yeah, that'll be great. Thank you.
Nimi, do you want to go next? I see a raised hand.
Yeah, I'll be very quick because people might be fundraising and you are more helpful there. I have very long-term vision question. So I am a postdoc at Memorial Sloan Kettering in New York. And before that, I did my PhD in India. My questions were around health tech, sustainability, and the entire ecosystem of developing the health tech to support the rural areas and all of that, right? And what kind of funding goes into that? Now, my idea of what was happening in India when I was there was the ecosystem was not mature. What I see here in terms of biotech funding is it's more mature. And with all due respect to everybody making technology, I think technology has reached its peak, but the biotech has just begun. And yes. If you see the way China has scaled, that every major VC who's here has an arm in China. But considering everything China is doing, there's a lot of interest in India. And this is a time once again where we can win it. I was in Silicon Valley last week to network with some of them. SOSV especially is very interested to be in India at this moment, and they are already planning that. They need the right partners and so on and so forth. So I would really like to talk to you in detail. Sure. We can connect. That would be nice.
I'm happy to schedule your time. Again, my email address is simple, sanjay@actionforindia.org, but Chandani can facilitate whoever wants to kind of get in touch with me.
Thank you.
Abhijit?
Hi, Sanjay. I think, to do a full conversation would take a long time, but I'll keep my thing short. I'll give a brief about what I do. I am the founder of an organization, a nonprofit organization called Project Defy. And we create these self-learning spaces. So essentially schools, but looking nothing like schools, but there are no teachers, no exams, no curriculum. People, children, adults, older people all get together and they decide what they will learn. And, they control their own learning and their own learning space. And these are created inside marginalized communities in several parts of India. Now we are in Bangladesh, in Zimbabwe, in Rwanda, Uganda, some more countries. So, so the idea started right outside of Bangalore in a village, and now it's spreading outwards. So it's a sort of reverse migration from a village to other countries, as opposed to usually from the west to the villages in India, right? So now here's my challenge, right? So I've been talking to many people, and in India specifically, I've been trying to get partners who invest or put some money into the organization, not just the spaces, not just individual projects, which is so far not so hard to do, but getting into the organization has been tough. And whenever I talk to people, very recently, there was some more about scaling up. They usually say that, oh, if you put your spaces, these spaces are called nooks, if you put them in schools and scale, then that's a viable idea. But otherwise not. And to me, that's a horrible idea, because the whole point of doing this is to be independent of schools, to keep that as actually a true alternative and not a part of the same compromise, 250-year-old compromise that we keep making. So what is your opinion on this? When you talk about scale and when you think of scale, does that come with a little bit of an open mind that scale might not have to go through conventional means, and maybe trying out some new ways could be risky, and well, if I'm taking that risk, then everybody else would have to. But what do you think about this, and is this something that I can talk to you further about?
Sure. Again, if there's a basic deck that you have in terms of whatever efforts that have already happened, and what is it that some of the unconventional approaches that you're planning to pursue moving ahead. I'm happy to kind of discuss with you one-to-one, but more relevantly, through the AFI networks, there are people who done some very good work in the learning/education domain, and I'm happy to share profiles of some of those individuals and see who might work. And I completely am aligned with you. The whole purpose of this MOOCs that you talked about is, it's an alternative to schools. It doesn't make sense to kind of keep the same model and bring it to a school. So happy to talk to you further about this.
Fantastic. Just quickly, Sanjay, when you're in India, where are you usually based out of?
Yeah, so what's happened is that, I mean, I have been shuttling between India and the US for more than 10 years. Before that, I was living in the US. And ever since the pandemic began, I've been holed up in my hometown in Hyderabad. Otherwise, I spend half my time in the US, mostly in the Bay Area, half my time in India, mostly in Delhi. That used to be the plan. Where are you based in India?
I'm in Bangalore, so not so far away. So yeah, I think if we find some time, then maybe I'll come over and see you.
Sure. Great. Thank you. Next, we go to Nandita.
Hi, I'm from Kochi, Kerala. I have been working as a social entrepreneur probably for the last 10 years or so.
Wow.
So it was actually a journey, that started as a magazine editor, as an architecture magazine editor, from which, I pretty much have been groomed by some of the greatest architects India has ever seen, I would say, or lucky enough to have been groomed by them. And it was like a slow but process of switching to handlooms and handicrafts, finding the vernacular crafts of India. And I took over a handloom weaving society. It's not a society, a weaving center in Balramapuram, which is in the southernmost part of Kerala, in Trivandrum. And initially we had 17 looms and lot many more weavers. And it was a navigation from there. I started working with other clusters, other weaving societies, then moved to others, other crafts organizations as well. So to come to my question, I think I have to put this in context.
Sure.
So, yeah, so then it was of course to make a social change, as well as I thought it was a sustainable issue as well, because these products are slow and they actually make a sustainable impact. So that was the reason why I was involved with this. But the social angle of it actually, I think, failed pretty much, because I realized that I changed the way they were selling things was always retail, and I moved from retail to B2B, and we started getting orders. And that's when I realized that these weavers, even the craftsmen, none of them have the skill set or the speed to meet with these orders. As in, they're not adaptable to change. They don't want to change the original designs, all that. So all those problems come in basically because the age group of all of them is like more than 60. Youngsters are not coming into this sector as also. So and when we won the CII and NID National Award, because we don't have a national award for these things, and this one is considered as the national award, we were extremely high. We thought, okay, hey, we did it, we made it. But then that's when we realized none of this matters. These awards are being featured in a global magazine doesn't matter. It doesn't convert to people buying things and making things. So then I started realizing, okay, even to get a prototype, I had to move into something else. And then technology, I'm an engineer, by the way. So naturally, I moved into digital fabrication. So that's when I did Fab Academy. I'm not sure whether you are familiar with it.
It's to do with Fab India or something else?
And no, nothing to do with Fab India. But then it's actually a course conducted by MIT Professor Neil Gershenfeld, where he combines design, electronics, technology, and digital fabrication all together in one single course. And I did that. I completed that, and I moved. I also did advanced machine design under him. It to complete a couple of assignments and that. But then I realized that I can actually use this technology to help what I was doing before. And I am in the process of making a loom and integrating integrating an electronic module into the loom, which would make the weavers, change the design easily. And they will be able to make wider range of complex designs without changing the equipment or the loom that they are working on. And I thought this would make sure that younger new weavers will explore weaving. So this was the reason I started this. And the second, that's a one project, and I'm doing two projects at present. The second one is using water hyacinth to make bio leather. This is both textile related, but then I'm doing this at Amsterdam, place, an organization called Bag Institute. So I'm doing it at the textile lab there. So, my question, so this is basically my question is very, very limited one. Do you give funding for early stage research this kind of processes? One. Second, have you ever had success with any kind of with someone who has worked in my field, who had, where I have failed, where I was not able to bring in a systemic change?
Actually, yeah, complete your thought and I'll say something. Yeah, go ahead. Complete. Those are the two elements there.
Yeah, so one of the things that I realized that to bring in a systemic, we can bring in social change only if there is a systemic change. So that's when I started to add in the technology to the original craft. I have seen the work by people before me, be it Dastakari or Pailnath of Kadam Hath. All of them have been working, and what I have been seeing is that they are also going through this 25-50 years in their career, and still they are also facing the same situation as me. So that was why I wanted to ask whether you ever met with somebody who have made.
So very clearly, one of the entrepreneurs, in fact, Asha met with him as well, and Asha was planning to invest in this enterprise. There's an organization called Lalten, LAL10. I don't know whether you ever heard them. Check out the website, lalten.com. And he's basically developed a technology platform, an e-commerce platform to help the rural artisans and craftsmen of India. And
can you repeat that, Sanjay? Can you repeat that name?
Lalten, LAL10, lalten.com. The name of the entrepreneur was Maneet Gohil.
Got it.
He was part of the 2019 cohort of social entrepreneurs. And you were very interested in his work, and he's growing gangbusters currently. He's really found a niche, and in spite of the pandemic, the last 18 months have been the highest growth rate. So is really doing very well. So check out Nandita, this particular website, and if relevant, I'm happy to make a connection to Maneet. And there's also another organization talk about B2B.
I'm sorry, may I cut in? Sorry, I know about Lalten. I don't know about the that side of us in the business side of it. But then I only know the people whom they were working with. Sorry, just to continue.
Yeah, so once you look at the company's website and the profile of Maneet Gohil, if relevant, I'm happy to connect you with him. And then when you talk about the B2B instead of the retail thing, a lady by the name Neelam Chibar, she was serving on a board previously. She used to run an organization called Industry and Mother Earth. She's based in Bangalore. And again, if relevant, once you look up the website there, these are people who work in these arts and crafts domain, and how do you improve the livelihoods of these marginal artisans and craftsmen. So that could be one great starting point for you in terms of how do you make this social change happen, but how do you also generate enough financial returns to become investment ready, investment worthy. And again, you can drop me a note once you look at them, and I'm happy to follow up with you.
Nandita, does that answer your question?
No, not really.
Can you repeat your question, because even I did not get it fully. Repeat it in short.
Sure. The first one is, do you give funding for early stage entrepreneurs? No, rather than entrepreneurs, when at this point of time when it is R&D, do you give funding? First. Second question was whether you know anyone I think you pretty much answered the second question or
Second one.
first. The
Yeah,
first
so the first
yeah.
question, again, that at Action for India, we are an ecosystem enabling organization, and we help work with the entrepreneurs to do capacity building, to connect you with your source of funding, investors, but we don't do the funding ourselves. There are, again, if I see an investment pitch deck or what have you, I can connect you with specific individuals, again, be it angels or angel networks or institutions. But for an impact enterprise, usually, I mean, your friends and family round is the initial round. Then there are the angel network rounds. To get institutional, to attract institutional attention, you need to have some significant customer revenue traction. Otherwise, yeah, most institutions, you find it a challenge to kind of get their attention. But yeah, once you share with me the investment pitch deck, I'm happy to review it and see if there are specific angels or angel networks that might be relevant for you.
Nandita, I'm curious though, that would it not, I mean, if you are at an R&D stage, does it not make sense to apply for government funding in an incubator?
I did, but I had IIT Bombay, IDC Bombay specifically, and IIT Kharagpur. They have contacted me through, because a couple of people who know me and worked with me previously suggested this thing to be incubated there. But then my education, not having a degree, as in there is a whole lot of academic shaming, to be honest, because not having a PG in the specific subject. I'm an engineer, but I don't have a PG or a PhD. That all ends up being a problem when it comes to these kind of institutions. But I also checked out something that Nimi and I forgot his name. He's also from Kerala. Both of them suggested DST's funding. That also will not work with me because I'm working with an organization in Amsterdam right now.
I'm happy to look at it, Nandita. Are you working with the Fab Lab in Amsterdam by any chance, or somebody else?
Yeah, they also have, the organization also have a Fab Lab under them. Fab Lab Amsterdam.
Yeah, right. Why don't you talk to me offline after this? Because there is something we actually, even the Fab Lab people might be interested in supporting some of your work, because you're right that the Amsterdam Fab Lab is actually art oriented. It's one of the few Fab Labs which happens to be in the art district in Amsterdam, and as a result has a strong art component. Again, it's a serendipitous meeting of a Fab Lab with the art world. So interesting. Yeah, no, we'll talk, Nandita. In fact, after this weekend, I'll be speaking to each of you, since we have a 20-year common journey. So, but I'll speak next week. I'll speak to you next week. Okay, Nandita?
Sure. All right.
Yeah.
The last person with the raised hand, Shashwat Desai. Shashwat, over to you.
Hi, Sanjay. It's just great to hear from you, and it's very inspiring of all the work Action for India is doing. Just a quick introduction about me. I'm a neurologist. I did my training in India, and now I'm based in the US. I'm still training more.
Wow.
It's like a never-ending journey, but I have a startup, and we are trying to make stents for the brain for stroke treatment. So it's very similar to the stents they use in the heart to open up the arteries. But in 2015, a new treatment was FDA approved for the brain as well, to treat strokes. And in terms of, if you only look at India, then there are like about 6 lakh or 600,000 such strokes which will require treatment annually, as per the numbers right now. And last year only 3,000 got treatment. So we have a huge gap to cover in terms of many things: hospitals, operators, doctors, and even the devices themselves. So my aim is to try and create these devices in a way that we can make them very cheap, affordable, and safe and effective as well. So we are trying to design a device which can be manufactured in a very cheap way, and try and reduce the cost from $8,000 a stent right now to hopefully $800 to $900 a stent. So we have a company in the US, and we just started like a small center in Bangkok to to try and see if we can export our device and do the first in-human trial in Bangkok, because it's easier to get through the healthcare approvals and stuff. But obviously my goal personally, and our goal as a company also, is to enter the South Asian market where it's required the most. Hopefully even bring our R&D to India and even get like manufacturing to India. So my question to you is, is there interest in such like ventures through Action for India, and how, what's the best way to start collaborating and helping us build a team in India?
Again, firstly, I should commend you for the work that you're pursuing. And with respect to the investment part at Action for India, we are an ecosystem enabler. We identify these early stage entrepreneurs and we connect them with resources to help scale the impact of the work. We haven't done investments ourselves through AFI. As regards in terms of investment funds which are doing this low-cost medical devices, there are some funds, again, as somebody else was mentioning, some of these funds are very sector specific. Some people only do education, some people do only agriculture, some people do only healthcare. There are a few healthcare focused funds. And again, they would probably be the best bet. But again, when it's a product innovation, low-cost medical devices, I haven't seen a whole lot of venture funding going into that subdomain. People are into e-commerce, into B2B SaaS, and that's the latest flavor of the day. But again, if you have some kind of a summary or an investment document, I'm happy to review that. And there are a few people whom I know who are in the healthcare domain, healthcare focused investors, and I can share your note with them. And if they feel that they're interested, I'm happy to connect you. Which city in the US are you in?
I'm in Phoenix, Arizona right now, and I'll be here for a year at least. And after that, I don't know where life takes me in terms of my next job. But I'm here, and our R&D is happening at LA, at UCLA, and so.
And one thing I can tell you, I mean, I think from what little I know, people in the US are much more. It's much more possible to raise venture funding for companies like you, which are in the R&D mode, as opposed to in India. I think the risk appetite, across the board is really on the lower side when you think of India.
Correct.
So the quick this thing, but do share with me a note. And in fact, let me kind of type my email address in the chat section so everybody can have access to that. And I'm happy to respond to whoever writes to me. Wonderful. So thank you, everyone. And again, congratulations on being part of the cohort. Make the most of this opportunity, and don't underestimate the network that your peer cohort members, they can be a great source of help to serve as a sounding board and to connect you with their relevant networks. So it's not just people from outside coming in like me, but that as well. And Asha is a great, can be a great champion for your skilling journey, not just now, not just during the track, but as she said, it could be it's a lifelong relationship for 20 years. Whenever, at whatever stage of your venture, you need something in Silicon Valley, you have a home for you with Asha. So thanks, Asha. Thanks for
thank you so much.
And
Sanjay, thank you so much. It was wonderful having you, and I'll of course connect people to you as needed, as as we go forward. And I'm sure in the next year we are all going to be meeting face to face somewhere. So wish you all the best and stay in touch. Okay.
When are you coming to India, Asha?
October, end of October, most likely, but I'll call you before I come. And if I'm there, of course, we'll all connect.
Yes. Look forward to doing that. Take care, everyone.
Thank you. Take care. Chandni, is anybody else coming?
Yes, Asha. Karishma is here.
Okay. Next is Karishma.
Yes. Hello.
Okay. Hello. Hey, Karishma.
Hey.
Good morning, Karishma.
Good morning.
Hi.
Good morning. We are in the neighborhood, not too far from each other.
Hey, Karishma, wanted to ask you, do you have the new number for Sunwar? A local number for Sunwar?
Yes, I do.
Can you please send it to me right now?
Yes.
Take out your phone, send it to me, because we are trying to, nab him for not only speaking at the, fellowship, but also for the Garba tonight,
Just give me a minute. I will just send you that.
Asha ji, sorry to ask a stupid question, but then is there a relation because of the last names?
Yes, yeah. So Karishma is my brother's daughter, my younger brother's daughter. And my brother and his wife, they live in also, 10 minutes from me. Karishma also lives 10, 15 minutes from me. And, here I want to again illustrate the, personal initiative that we all take, right, in helping our friends and family with expanding their outlook to, to sort of bigger, to be really, truly global citizens, actually. And I must say that in my own journey, Karishma's family, which is my brother and Bhabhi, they've been there for me, for almost 20 years now. And there are times when I've needed them, when I'm traveling or helping with my kids, especially at my time of when I lost Rajeev, it was family that came